The undefeated Roughriders are in British Columbia to take on the red-hot Lions, so you know what that means. The Watermelon Smash is back, but in addition to the Smash, BC introducing the Mullet Barber Shop. Some great-looking flows on the West Coast. And we wanted in on the festivities, so we brought in our own barber shop, where Rena is giving our lighting guru, Seth, the Mackie mullet. There were 4 different mullets you could pick from. By the way, we're going to update Seth's mullet throughout the evening tonight, and let me tell you, it is a thing of beauty. Speaking of thing of beauty, here's the panel. Jim Barker, Davis Sanchez, and Milt Stiegel as we get set for a great matchup on Saturday night. Chezzy, there are so many storylines going into this game. We got the undefeated Riders. You got VA, who's playing lights out. What are you watching for?
I'm watching, they say they're pressure bust pipes, so let's see if you saw last week Shea Patterson versus the Argos. They blitzed him all the way, I think it was, they blitzed 5 on second down all the way until 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and Shea Patterson didn't have 1 conversion. So let's see, I believe Ryan Phillips and that defense will pressure the heck out of Shea. Let's see how he responds.
Well, for me, Shea has to understand he's in the track meet. You know, track is my favorite sport. So Vernon Adams is running the 400 and Shea is running the same thing, but he can't keep up with Vernon Adams. So what he needs to do is run the 4x1, which is 4 people handing the baton off, giving it to him. He has to understand he has a great defense, good running backs, good receivers. He's not going to win the game, but if he can rely on those other aspects of it, he has a great opportunity to win
What
this game.
he can do is stretch the defense with his speed and his legs outside and create some running lanes for A.J. Ouellette. That's what they need to do, is keep the ball away from this BC Lion team, because they can score. Saskatchewan is a +10 in turnovers, and if they can hang on to that, BC's a -1. That, to me, is the key to the game.
You know, I'm looking at you, JB, and my storyline for this evening is, are you going to be a team player and get a mullet like Seth is tonight?
What about you, Kay? Are you going to be a team player?
We know this is a moneymaker.
We already got ours, but it didn't work out.
You guys wish you could get a mullet, let's face it. But you going to do it? You going to take one for the team, JB?
I'm not.
Oh, well, unfortunate. Well, we're going to have a great night here. It should be a great football game, to say the least. Riders undefeated on the season. Shea Patterson and company in town to take on the high-flying BC Lions. VA on pace for 6,300 passing yards this season. We'll get you to BC right after this.
Thank you, Kate, and another beautiful summer Saturday afternoon in Canada's West Coast. Welcome to Vancouver and an early test of the best in the West here in BC Place. The 4-0 Roughriders up against the 4-1 Lions, Glenn Suter. And you think about BC's offense, the way they've shot out of the gate. #1 offense coming into this week, led by their star quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., who had passed for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in Hamilton last week in the first half alone.
Yeah, Vernon Adams Jr. is lighting it up, to say the least. The Lions starter has averaged 350 yards per game. He has thrown 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception and has led the Lions to 4 straight wins. Trying to keep pace with the league's hottest quarterback will be 27-year-old Shea Patterson. Patterson got his first start last week versus a very good Argo defense and registered his first win.
It is a trip home for Riders head coach Corey Mace, who was raised nearby in Port Moody. First ever CFL game in person was between these 2 teams when he was a kid. Rick Campbell, another good start for his BC Lions in his 4th season as head coach there. They bounced back nicely after losing their opener in Toronto a month ago. The Lions won the toss. They want the ball to get it started. There is Terry Williams, will await the kick by Brett Lawton. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, the last unbeaten left, and put to the test as they send it off for Williams, who takes it back inside the Lions 20. Across the 30, and he is tripped up as he gets just across the 40 by Jacoby McLean. There's Vernon Adams getting set to go to work again. What a job he did last week in Hamilton.
Well, his pace is incredible. I mean, this is the first third of the season, 6 games in. This is game number 6. Look at the numbers, 1,752 yards. I mentioned the touchdown interception ratio off the chart, and they're on a 4-game heater.
Their first possession at Tim Hortons Field last week, 4 plays in, touchdown pass to William Stanback. Second possession, touchdown pass to Justin McInnes. They were off and running early on in that one against the Ticats. Here we go. Pressure coming, and it's an incomplete pass intended for the leading receiver in the CFL coming into week 6, Alexander Hollins.
I didn't really highlight any of the starters on the offensive line for the Lions because collectively they've done a nice job over the last 4-game win streak. They gave up 6 sacks in game 1, just 2 since then, and there's one of the hottest receivers in the league in Justin McInnes, which will create a nice matchup in this one. McInnes against Roland Milligan.
2nd and 10. The Lions starting at their 40. Pressure coming, and they get to Adams, but he gets away and gets rid of it. Deep, caught, first down and more. Aiden Eberhardt all the way down to the Rough Rider 15. Big play B.A. indeed. A 55-yard pass to Eberhardt.
Well, his ability to escape, he doesn't do it a whole bunch throughout the game and throughout this season, but when he does, he makes the big plays on the move. This is Vernon Adams escaping the pocket. Looked like he was caught for a loss. He gets it down the field, and now it's a scramble drill.
Aiden Eberhardt in his 2nd year out of Wyoming, and that catch gets them down just inside the Rider 15. Lions quickly on the move. Taking the handoff, and down he goes. Anthony Lanier got him. And Adams just did not have time to get rid of it. He was sacked twice, Adams was, in Hamilton last week, and before that, you have to go back to week 1.
Well, this is a change on the defensive line. We'll get to the starters for Saskatchewan in a second, but Anthony Lanier is bumping out to replace Malik Carney. He gets involved early.
Normally plays in the inside, but the Riders, yes, to your point, have had a lot of injuries up front heading into this game. 2nd and 15 after that loss of 5. Back to the Rider 20. Adams to throw again. More heat. Dumps it off to William Stanback, who gets it down inside the 10. But not enough for a first down. It'll be a field goal situation coming up here for Sean White. We saw William Stanback, the receiver, a little bit more last week in Hamilton.
Yeah, had a real nice catch, got out of the backfield and down the field for a 40-yarder. But, you know, he can do that, but he is still that tackle to tackle, in between the tackles runner, pounding that ball, and nice balance to the BC Lion offense, Vernon Adams.
Sean White was 3 for 3 last week, perfect on the season. In fact, he is now the BC Lions all-time record holder for consecutive field goals made. He passed Paul McCallum last week. He's made 32 straight, looking to make it 33 and extend the Lions franchise record. For the veteran 38-year-old from White Rock, BC, 3 on the board. So quickly the Lions move down with that big play. Aiden Eberhardt. Shea Patterson won his first ever CFL start last week against the Argos. With Trevor Harris injured, Shea Patterson got a chance to make his first ever CFL start last week against the Argos. Went 19 of 33 for 233 and a touchdown pass, no picks.
Yeah, and I think the most impressive part of that start were the final 2 first downs that he needed to generate to seal the deal. That was a one-possession game, and he needed to go out and make a couple of plays late in that one to get the win, and he got it done.
15 of 23, 192 in that touchdown pass to Samuel Emelis. So here we go on the ground. And one area that just has not been working yet for the Riders is the running game, with the addition of A.J. Ouellette, who's only averaging 3.4 yards a carry, and he stopped for a loss.
Yeah, I think, you know, last week he did just enough. I mean, just shy of 200 yards passing, as you mentioned. That's his overall numbers, coming in often off the bench. But in that game, 192, but did not throw an interception. Didn't make the big mistake in that game that cost the Riders.
Which is an important thing for a team that is far and away leading the turnover ratio. That's really helped them this year in the CFL. And the big pass is picked off. The safety, Adrian Green, the intended receiver, coming in, Kean Schaefer-Baker, but Adrian Green steps in front, and Green has the ball. And we just mentioned no mistakes by Patterson, but he does make one there.
He's going to look this throw down, watch him look to the left and just stare it down, going up over the middle, and the free safety, Adrian Green, can read that throwing look and just slides over. He didn't have to cover that much ground. Just come across and get underneath the throw. Schaefer-Baker tried to pull it out of there, but couldn't get it done. Big turnover for the Lions.
In his third year out of St. Mary's, Adrian Green with his first interception of the season, and a little silly afterwards for the Lions safety. So barely in their side of midfield, the Lions go to work again, and it's William Stanback, and he has nowhere to run against that Saskatchewan defensive front.
Well, with Malik Carney out, that's what we just mentioned. They're going to move Anthony Lanier out to the end. He's played there before and can do it well. Miles Brown will play in his spot inside. The leader in that front seven is no question Jameer Thurman. Been a big difference maker for them on defense, and maybe the best halfback in the league. And I know it's early, with a lot of due respect to some good players out there, but the best halfback may just be Roland Milligan right now.
He has 3 interceptions. He's been great on special teams too. 2nd and 9. Flushed out of the pocket. Throwing, nearly picked off by Roland Milligan. Got his hands on it. Falls incomplete. 3rd and long coming up for the Lions.
Don't see this very often with the red-hot Vernon Adams, but he was off the mark on that throw. Tough throw to make going that way and trying to throw it back, but we've seen him do this in his sleep. I mean, he's going to, again, feel that pressure upside. That's Lanier getting twice now in the backfield. That just off the mark.
The punt from Stephen Flintoff will be taken by Mario Alford, or he takes it off the hop just inside the 15 and picks up a few yards after a punt to 44 and out just inside the Rider 20. So after the turnover, no harm ultimately for Saskatchewan, and Patterson will come back on again to go to work for the 4-0 Saskatchewan Roughriders here on TSN. In college, Shea Patterson started at Ole Miss, transferred to Michigan, and had a couple of productive seasons with the Wolverines.
Yes, he did, and throwing for almost 6,000 yards in a couple of years at Michigan, and has been around the CFL.
Yeah.
Some time in here in BC.
That's where it started with the Lions, right? And later to Montreal, went to the USFL, came back to the CFL last year with Saskatchewan, getting his 2nd CFL start. A.J. Ouellette feeling his way through as he gets up to about the 24 as we take a closer look at that Saskatchewan offense.
Peter Godber leads the front for former BC Lion up there on the O-line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they get Sean Bain back in the receiving corps. So Coach Mueller up top, the offensive coordinator, has another deep threat added to a very good receiving corps.
Second possession, Saskatchewan, trailing by 3. Their first possession, it was an interception thrown by Shea Patterson. And they blow it down like a time count.
Violation, Saskatchewan number 5. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
See the frustration just as he took the ball and just didn't get it on time.
Well, Chuck went up for the crowd here at BC Place. It was a very good crowd, and there's a lot of green and white in this crowd, too. That happens all the time at Mosaic.
It was a great promotion. It's the 2nd annual Watermelon Smash game, of course, with the Riders being here.
Gotta love it.
You heard Kate talking about it in the studio, too, but great participation. Of course, it's Rider fans. They show up everywhere. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan 19. Throwing to the right. And good coverage is there again, intended for Schaefer-Baker. And Seontae Evans nearly had himself an interception.
Well, Seontae Evans is a 8-year veteran in the Canadian Football League, playing against a guy in his 2nd start now in Shea Patterson, and he's going to let his guy go and just fall underneath this throw. You can see almost a double covered Schaefer Baker out there because Patterson did not think that Seontae Evans was going to drop his guy and just fall under that throw.
So the Riders will have to kick deep from their zone. Adam Korsak standing just outside his 5. Terry Williams for the Lions standing at the BC 40. For this one from the Australian punter. And Williams, 45 for a 60-yard punt. And good coverage on the punt by Saskatchewan. Vernon Adams drove him down for a field goal. And the Lions have a 3-0 lead early here in Vancouver. Mentioning the Lions leading the CFL in net offense coming in, led by this man. The projections, Glenn, for Vernon Adams Jr. right now over 6,000 yards passing, but he is leading in a lot of categories.
Well, you take a look at that second column, the 20-plus yard completions. Those are big chunk plays. He's been the best in the league at that, and that's the challenge for this Rider defense here tonight.
Got a completion already of 55 yards to Hayden Eberhardt. Shorter pass that time. Hayden's caught midfield, and advancing a little bit further is Alexander Hollins. The leading receiver coming into the week, Tyson Philpott passed him earlier this weekend, but only about 30 yards away from moving in front again.
Well, he's going to line up over there in the short side a ton in this matchup, and you're going to see Milligan against him occasionally when they run change motion, or Justin McInnes in that matchup. Two red-hot receivers.
A gain of 9, so it's 2nd down and 1 as Adams stays in at short yardage. He did not get much. Nelson Lacombo and C.J. Rivas pushing him back, and we'll see where they spot the ball on this. Now, as mentioned, it was a 2nd down play.
Yeah, and that's why they left Vernon Adams out there, because on 2nd down he can do really anything. Now they're going to jam the line of scrimmage and pull him back. They usually put David Mackey in the game. He takes a direct snap on short yardage. They've done that the last couple of weeks.
So Adams stays in the huddle. He actually lost a little bit there. It's a full yard just inside the Rider zone. It is Adams under center. Goes right. Gonna throw. Open receiver McInnes. 1st down and more. They got the Riders on that one. Deontay Williams takes McInnes down, but a big 1st down as they fool the Saskatchewan defense on that 3rd and 1 and a pickup of 38.
How about Jordan Maksimic selling this play by putting Vernon Adams in a short yardage situation on 2nd down first? So nothing is unusual to leave him out there, even though David Mackey over the last couple of weeks has done those 3rd down short yardage plays, and then they fool that defense with the deep throw to McInnes.
We saw McInnes open a lot last week in Hamilton, but certainly open there as BC tripped the Riders, and they're down to the Saskatchewan 16, knocking on the door again, throwing again, and reaching up for it for the completion is McInnes. He had a career game last week against the Ticats.
This is his wingspan. Example of what McInnes brings as far as just overall reach. He had to climb the ladder and go up and get that, but hard to overthrow Justin McInnes.
He had 10 catches for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns last week in their victory over the Ticats. And a former Roughrider, too. Saskatchewan drafted him. But they were injury-plagued seasons in the green and white. Taking off here with BC. Throwing again. McInnes' way. And down near the 5. It was a 2nd and 6 play. And looks like a 1st and goal coming up here for BC.
This time David Mackey was in there at fullback, and Vernon Adams waits for Mackey to try and draw some coverage out in the flat before he knifes it in to McInnes in between coverage. C.J. Avery very close, but the needle threaded by number 3.
So Mackey is in, as you mentioned. Williams stand back in the backfield. It's a 1st and goal from the 5. Lions lead by 3. A chance to make it more. Faking to stand back. End zone. Touchdown. As Justin McInnes adds to his impressive total so far this young season.
Vernon Adams looks like a guy who's been throwing for 350 a game of late with just great confidence. It doesn't matter if his receivers are covered, because Justin McInnis on this touchdown throw was covered. And he was covered well. I'm not sure you can play it any better. There were 2 linebackers underneath, had a chance to tip that, and 2 DBs in behind. And again, Vernon Adams just knifing the ball, and McInnis another touchdown.
6 plays, 63 yards, in just under 4 minutes, and another McInnis touchdown, his 3rd in 2 weeks. And he came in 3rd behind his teammate Alexander Hollins and Tyson Philpott for receiving yards in the CFL.
Come on, be on camera. Put him on camera.
And that was the 12th touchdown pass thrown by Vernon Adams. He'd been tied with Bo Levi Mitchell coming into this game in that department.
All day.
So another category, he's the sole leader in touchdown passes thrown this season, Vernon Adams Jr. And there's an injured rider still down in the end zone.
Yeah, that was friendly fire. That is Milligan, slow to get up. Certainly don't want to lose that playmaker in the secondary. Again, one of the guys that, and I love these guys, one of the guys that plays either offense or defense and is having a big year, but also covers kicks. You know, Roland Milligan leads their team in special teams tackles.
At 9 of them coming into this game. Here's Sean White with the point after try. Up and through it goes for Sean White. Well, McInnis and Adams, they had a lot of success working together last week. So far in this game, they strike again and a 10-0 lead, BC. We just saw Justin McInnis touchdown, and remember, this was last week at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton when he really went off and had a big first half against the Ticats.
Yeah, we had a good talk with Justin leading into this game here tonight, and asked him about that start. He said, you know, I went over to Alexander Hollins, my teammate, and said, I'm going to catch that 215 if this keeps up. And they get him started and going early here. Vernon Adams trusts him even if he's covered, and that was good coverage. And again, friendly fire there. Nelson Lacombo and Roland Milligan colliding with McInnis in behind him. Not distracted. Great strong hands.
Came into this game 3rd in the league in receiving. He's now well over 500 yards receiving in this week 6. And that touchdown with a 10-point lead for BC, with Alford back again for this kick by Stephen Flintoff. So overall, 2 scoring drives, some big plays involved for the Lions. A similarity to last week. They're moving quickly here to get in front by 10. Alford takes it down inside the 10 for the Riders. Has some route. Here we go. And Mario Alford gets it up across the Saskatchewan 45. A 41-yard return as back comes Shea Patterson with more. Let's go down to the field level now and say hello to Chantel Chan.
Yeah, Rod, you and Glenn mentioned it earlier. This isn't where exactly Shea Patterson started his career with the Roughriders. He actually started here in BC, and I had a chance to talk to him, and he said when he looks back, he has a lot of gratitude. He's really thankful for the Riders and Coach Corey Mace, but he also has a bit of a fire burning inside him, and he says that when he looks back during his rookie year, he feels like he wasn't handled very well by BC, but he says he's not going to make it about external factors, that he wants to go and help his team go 1-0 this week. He also mentioned that after BC, he headed to Montreal and spent time with Lions quarterback Vernon Adams, and VA would always tell him, stay ready so you don't got to get ready. So really a full circle moment for Shea Patterson.
Oh, Chantel, yeah, you know this game means a lot to him. He'd love the chance to stick it to his old team, the first one he was with.
Every player does. Yeah. Every player that was let go or traded from a team wants to go back and prove that they made a mistake, and that's what Shea Patterson is doing right now. And I love what Corey Mace, I'll say it after the play, but I love what Corey Mace told him going into training camp. Sean
Bain back in the lineup for the Riders at the pickup of 8, so a 2nd and 2 near midfield. Faking, dumping it off to Samuel Emelis, who was a lot after the catch. As finally, he's still going and gets down inside the 5. It looked like Kent had got him a little further up, but he stayed in bounds, and Samuel Emelis making it happen after catching that pass. 51 yards.
against the Argos last week. Really got the offense going. Shea Patterson started out with about 3 or 4 2-and-outs, but he's going to just push the flat here. And when he does, Patterson makes a high percentage throw. Nice confident throw. Get it outside to Emelis, and he turns the corner. No one around to make the tackle. Now Laddick's got to try and cut him off and get some help from his friends, hold him out of the end zone. But it was Emelis that got him started offensively last week.
And on Patterson's touchdown pass last week against the Argos, it was scored by Emelis on a great effort after he caught the ball. Gets it down to the BC 3. It's a 1st and goal. Riders in business. That was their first down in this game. Down by 10. Great chance to cut into that now. Patterson handing off. A.J. Ouellette. 3-2-1. Touchdown Riders. And they answer back in a real hurry.
This drive to answer the score from the BC Lions starts with a big return from Mario Alford. We have great returners in the Canadian Football League, and even if they don't score, you get it to midfield, the confidence of the quarterback. Even a guy in his second start comes out, he's so much more confident. A couple of high percentage throws, nice run after the catch for Emelis. And the Riders cross the goal line.
In just 3 plays for 62 yards, just over 2 minutes time after that return by Alford to set him up nicely to start. It's Brett Lother with the point after, and we're back to a field goal difference now. The Lions lead cut to 10-7. And A.J. Ouellette is mentioning not having the average that he'd been used to before, and still they try to get that running game going, but put on big 45 down in close to the end zone, and they get that touchdown.
Well, A.J. Ouellette needs a block at the point of attack, and he's going to get that from left tackle Trevor Reed. Trevor Reed's got to get that outside defensive end and turn him. As long as he occupies big on big right there against the D end, he allows A.J. Ouellette a spot to get it across the goal line. Coach Mueller, nice high percentage throws. Keep your quarterback that's very young confident, and finish off with a power back in A.J. Ouellette.
And once again, set up with a big play from Samuel Emelis, who certainly helped his quarterback out last week against the Argos too.
Okay, Terry Williams, you're up.
Could it be one of those games? We've seen a few of them this season.
Well, last night was...
Yeah, Calgary, Winnipeg, what a game.
Wow.
Terry Williams inside the 25. Yeah! We're going to do what Alford did. Get something, you got up to 35, but mentioning that Emelis play, let's have another look at what he did after he caught the ball.
Well, just a lot of early motion, and it catches the BC Lions defensively without coverage over there. They're outnumbered 2-1. Corner was in press, and Emelis has an open lane to just take off on that throw and get it down inside the 5.
Flag for illegal block on the Lions on the kick return, so that pushes them back to their 25 to get things started. As Vernon Adams back on the field for that Lion offense, off to a 7 of 9 start for 129 yards, and the touchdown pass that he threw as well to Justin McInnes. With Williams stand back behind him in a 1st and 10. 25, play fake. He's going to run. Adams takes off, has lots of space, and he slides down around the 40, and a 1st down BC.
Left side for Vernon Adams opens up big time here, but he gets outside, and you know, based on the last week and some of these controversial hits when the quarterback slides feet first, Vernon Adams does it early enough so the Rider defenders don't hit him and draw a penalty. That was over the top from
C.J. Avery. And now back to the running game for Stanback, heading off to the right. Revis is there, gets it up, well, across the 40 and pick up about 3 yards. 2nd and long coming up.
This Rider defense has been able to turn the ball over a ton to start this campaign, leading the league with a +10, and may need to generate a couple against the red-hot quarterback.
2nd and 6, BC 42. Adams gets rid of it. flag is out. Oh, what a marvelous catch by Stanley Berryhill. And they're marching it off. This will count, a 27-yard pickup.
Saskatchewan number 24. Penalty is declined as the gain is greater. It's a first down.
Sometimes you got to drill it in there, and sometimes the quarterback's got to lift the ball. Watch Jameer Thurman drop into coverage here, and when he does, that's the obstacle for Vernon Adams. He's looking at that middle linebacker. He's not quite deep enough, so he puts a little more air under it and drops it right into Berryhill.
To the frustration of the head coach and defensive coordinator Corey Mace. More pressure coming. Gets rid of it. And that one is complete. A shorter game that time for Alexander Holland. Or excuse me, that's Berryhill again. Back-to-back catches.
Yeah, tough to get the actual personnel matchups a defense might want to get because they move their receivers all over the place. We'll see in this quarter we've seen McInnes playing with Hollins in the short side of the field. That time it was Berryhill into the short side of the field.
Stanley Berryhill in his first year out of Arizona came in with 8 catches for 85 yards and a longest of 13. And in this one has 2 for 30. 2nd and 7 from the 37. Pressure, and down he goes again. This time it's Micah Johnson with his 3rd sack of the season to lead the way for the Riders, and the 2nd sack for Saskatchewan in this game. And that was on the last play of the first quarter. Adams has been kept pretty clean in the pocket since week 1. Not too clean on the walkway there with the watermelon being smashed. Touchdown McInnes, touchdown Ouellette. We got a game. 3-point difference after 1. Just a great promotion by the Lions here to involve the visiting fans in their watermelon tradition. This is the Watermelon Smash game, the 2nd annual, and lots of events. And the president of the Lions, Dwayne Vanneau, getting involved with a nice toss there of the watermelon. But this was all going on right outside the stadium before the game, and a great idea by BC.
Well, it was jam-packed out there. A couple of bands at the street party, a lot of green jerseys, and some beverages out there too with the watermelon theme.
I'm told these wonderful watermelon mojitos, free of the rum, I'm told.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I guess because we have a job to do. But anyway, but
Cheers.
Thank you for the drink and yeah, to the watermelon, and a nice tribute for the Lions as they welcome in the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they're leading them to start the 2nd quarter. It is Sean White with a 50-yard attempt. Flintoff puts it down, and he gets another one. That is 34 now. 34 straight to continue that BC Lions franchise record. Not an easy one, 50 yards away, but what a kicking machine Sean White has been, especially in his latter years, and by percentage up there with Lewis Ward and Rene Paredes. Not for just contemporary kickers, we're talking all time right now, and they're all still going.
Well, he hasn't missed. That's not bad.
Hasn't missed this year.
Yeah, I've always thought that perfect is a word that shouldn't exist. It's like a unicorn, but I guess it does exist for a couple of kickers in BC Lion history. He was close to perfect.
The legend.
Yeah.
Louis Pasaglia, a quarter century. Sean White has said, and he's a young 38. He says Louis went to age 46. He wants to keep going then. Sean White has said he wants to keep playing and break Louis' age record as well. That's off to the right to Kean Schaefer-Baker on a first down for the Riders. Now a 13-7, a 6-point lead by BC as you look at Shea Patterson.
Well, you gotta like the game plan for Coach Mueller with Shea Patterson. Just start number 2 for Patterson and not asking him to do too much, not looking too far down the field, holding the ball long in the pocket, want to keep the confidence high, and he's got playmakers that can make it happen after they catch those short routes.
So with Saskatchewan now in Montreal, the quarterback room include Trevor Harris and Vernon Adams Jr., who was hurt at the time. 2nd and 5. Off to the right. That is caught. That's Jared Stearns with his first catch up near first down yardage. And that suits the quarterback room he had in BC in his first year in 2021. Included Michael Riley and a guy by the name of Nathan Rourke.
Yes.
So, I mean, Patterson is certainly had a lot of big-name QBs to bounce some ideas off, hasn't he? There's Trevor, who's injured and on the 6th game, and Corey Mason said he'd be surprised if he stays on that 6-game list much longer. He is close to a return.
Well, and I like what Corey Mays said at training camp, started training camp, because Shea Patterson was competing with Mason Fine for that number 2 spot behind Trevor. And he said, look, it's fresh eyes. If you earn the job, you're going to get the job. And he earned it. He's got it. Now it's his team right now while Trevor is on the mend.
So the Lions force the Riders to punt. It's Adam Korsak getting rid of it. Terry Williams. Oh, he's chased back to the 10. Another good punt by Korsak at 53 yards. Going up the left side and out of bounds just around the 20. Well, CFL on TSN will continue tomorrow as Week 6 will wrap up with the Ottawa Redblacks heading to Edmonton to face the winless Edmonton Elks, who have been so close in these games. They've lost by a couple of walk-off winners to Toronto and then here at BC Place. For the Elks, will they finally get in the win column? Ottawa Redblacks here. You can watch that 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific from Edmonton on TSN. He's looking at being through 6 weeks of the season already in the books as of tomorrow. Vernon Adams Jr., 9 of 11 for 159. And the touchdown pass in the first quarter to Justin McInnes. So going to work now in the second quarter to William Standback, and Lake Cordy Moore, who knows these parts, playing his college ball at UBC, comes in and makes the tackle on Standback.
Yeah, sixth game for the BC Lions, but based on the last 4 weeks, if we were voting for MOP right now, Vernon Adams wins the MOP. And, you know, I know, again, lots of football to be played, and it's even maybe a little early to do projections, but at 6,300, which is what he's projected at right now, man, that's as good as it gets.
Well, if he could keep up that pace, only one quarterback has ever finished with a higher total than that. That is complete. And that is the first catch for a newcomer to the receiving corps by the name of Kieran Poisson. Played most recently with the West Shore Rebels in Victoria.
Getting a chance to play for Javon Catoy, who was a last-minute scratch here tonight and played for those West Shore Rebels over on the island. You know he's going to have a whole bunch of people from Vancouver Island watching that, a whole bunch of his fans watching that game in late August when BC will host Ottawa over on the island.
Territorial pick for BC. Kieran Poisson with the catch. 1st and 10. And that one falls short of the intended target, Alexander Hollins.
Well, you mentioned it. There was only one guy that if Vernon Adams stays on this pace, which would be 6,300 yards, 40 touchdowns, and just 4. I mean, it's off the charts. And it's going to even out, but the record is Doug Flutie. And Doug Flutie got to 6,000 twice. 2 different teams.
And that was when Flutie was with BC.
Yeah.
That was his first full season, I believe, in the CFL.
And there were some overtime games that year, too. I think there were 3 or 4 overtime games for the Lions that year.
So 2nd and 10, BC 31. They have a 6-point lead. 4-man rush, pump fake. Over the middle, it's caught. McInnes wide open again. Inside Rider territory. They take him down inside the Saskatchewan 50.
Well, the challenge for that second level is that to have the linebackers drop deep enough to affect this kind of throw. It's more than an intermediate throw. It's deeper than that, but if they start dropping that deep to get under that, now you're going to have crossers underneath that'll be wide open with lots of room to run.
He had the game of his life in the first half last week in Hamilton. So far in this one, 5 catches, 84 yards, and a touchdown. We're barely into the second quarter. Adams, pump fake again. Deep right, open, oh my goodness. Hollins had it and couldn't hang on. Would have been a Lions touchdown.
He knows it happens. Sometimes when you're that wide open, you start to think about it. You see the ball coming down and you're going, okay, I got it. I'm in behind coverage, no problem. Dropped already. You can't throw it any better. And it happens, even to the best in the league.
He was in behind his old teammate, former Lion Marcus Sales. And had a great shot at it, and he knows it. They go back to work again on a 2nd and 10.
Watch Vernon Adams go right back to him.
Watch for 13. Send out the bat signal. Saskatchewan 49. Well, he takes off again. Has the first down and slides again at the 35. And a flag comes out. We talked about Adams in the slide and defenders wanting to be very careful. We've seen that recently with hits on the quarterback as they're hitting.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan number 24. 15 yards out of the end of play. First down, BC.
C.J. Avery is caught in a bind. You'll see him in a second to the left of your screen because Adams got nice protection, just 3-man pressure, so he's going to have more time. Now stop it there. See, now you've got a basically linebacker, tweener DB that has either got to cover or go after Vernon Adams, and he's wrong either way.
Think that's a flag? I know it is, but think it should be? Deontay Williams doesn't. And it's a big penalty, too. Down to the 21. Anthony Lanier getting in the face of Adams. He had a sack of him earlier and gets some heat on him as it falls incomplete.
Vernon Adams just saving the loss there. Anthony Lanier has been in the backfield 3 or 4 times in this first half. Not just straight run to the quarterback that time. He played out there a bunch last year.
Inside and outside. Lanier. An injury is pushing him back out. Saskatchewan 21. 2nd down. And had a target, Berryhill, but it goes over his head. And looks like Sean White will be coming on to see if he can kick his 3rd field goal of this game. Frustrated for Adams.
Sorry, Rob, but give credit there to the pressure again. I mean, that was the pocket collapsing around Vernon Adams. He really couldn't step into that throw, couldn't get the accuracy that he wanted. Sometimes it's not a sack that is the difference. It's just the guy right in your kitchen.
Makes it a whole lot harder. Sean White, he's alone with the 3rd best consecutive field goal streak in CFL history. Rene Paredes, 2nd at 39. Lewis Ward, 1st at 69. But that makes it 35 straight. 3 for 3 is Sean White. 3 more points on the board for the BC Lions on a beautiful day in Vancouver.
After the play,
2 years ago, the #1 quarterback with the BC Lions and a sensation was Nathan Rourke. That's what he did in 21 and 22 with BC. Remarkable completion percentage and all those yards. He was top Canadian in 2022 despite missing some of the season with an injury, and then went off to the National Football League. But before he does again to the New York Giants this time, pleased to be joined by Nathan Rourke. Thanks for coming up to the booth. And I just wonder, since you left the CFL after that year in 2022, how much do you follow the league, in particular the BC Lions?
Yeah, I've been having a blast watching it. I mean, there's so many guys that I keep in contact with. I've been really, touching base with people like Keon Hatcher as he goes through his recovery process, and really making sure that, that the team is doing everything they can to win. I mean, I just want it for BC, for Vancouver, and happy to be back.
There was an unnecessary roughness call against BC. So wide open. Down they go. Sean Bean, or excuse me, Samuel Emelis on that pickup. Another big one for Emelis. And they started, as mentioned, because of the penalty, in great shape and a 50-yard pickup.
Well, let's just get to this play and we'll talk here, Nathan. You helped me in with this little inside motion here from Emelis, and he has just dropped in coverage.
Yeah, it seems like there was miscommunication there between the corner and the half there. Gary Peters at the corner there. Someone's got to have that area, and it didn't seem like anyone had. Not the first time today that's happened.
Yeah, exactly. A couple busts.
So Emelis with 2 catches for 101 yards already. It's 1st and goal from the 5. Riders on the toss. Olek puts his head down, has nowhere to go. Sione Tehema stops him in his tracks.
So let me ask you about what you're seeing from Vernon Adams. Talked off about how fast start he's had, 350 a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great. What I'm really impressed with him is he's really letting the game come to him. He's trusting Jordan and the rest of the offensive staff. He's not forcing it. I think he's done a really good job. Obviously, this game he's had some scrambles, but he's doing a really good job of just taking what the defense gives him, staying in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield like last week in Hamilton. Did that great job of that.
Second and goal now at the BC 6. Loss of a yard by the Riders. Patterson calls his own number, and he gets stopped as well. It's Bo Lacombo coming in.
And you know Shea well also.
I do, yeah.
In the same quarterback room for a while there. What's the toughest part about being in your second start?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, especially playing with, taking over for a team just like he is for Trevor, right? I mean, he's in a situation where the team's not really his. He's got to kind of prove himself to his teammates. I think he's doing a really good job. I think the game plan right now is really good, tailored to what his skill set is. And he's gotten some great gifts there from the DC defense with some broken plays, and he's taken advantage of it so far. They're in the game.
They are. Brett Lother coming on for the field goal try now. There's the 13-yarder. Get that 3 back. And they do, and they get it back to within 6 points. We just started talking. You stick around for a couple more minutes.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Nathan Rourke joining us here in BC with the Lions in front. Back in Vancouver, we have Nathan Rourke in the booth. We're looking at a little sample Glenn Suter of what Nathan did when he was with the BC Lions a couple of years ago.
Well, Nathan, I remember when we were analyzing your play, especially in that big year, just before you got injured, I always said I don't think I've seen a guy process as quickly as you were processing. And I know that's part of the preparation and Jordan Maksimic working with you, but it was incredible.
Yeah, Jordan he simplifies things, right? He makes it a 1 to 2 to 3, down to your check down to your back. Vernon's had success this year because I believe he's bought into that system. He's mirrored his feet with his reads and his eyes, and Jordan's been able to put it together. And it's a tough task today when they're short on the receiver side.
So I got to ask you one question because I know a lot of people are thinking about it. You're going to the Giants soon, a couple weeks here, going down to training camp. I've said for years that if you get a real legit shot down there, you're going to be in the Pro Bowl immediately. But we're also wondering, what's the future plans if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to play, right? And I still feel like that opportunity is present down in the States in the NFL. But if not, I would love to be able to come back and play in this league that I love so much. I love playing in front of these fans. I love playing in front of family, and I would love to return to an organization that I love, that feels like family to me here in BC with the Lions. So we'll see.
Well, they just had a 2-and-out. They're going to be punting it away. But listen, all the best of luck. And should your path come back to the CFL, a lot of fans would be excited to see that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Good luck down. Hey, you get a shot, you're in the Pro Bowl.
Thanks, guys.
And you're on our Olympic team too, by the way. Don't let them take you.
He's lobbying hard for that. He has been for a while. Nathan Rourke of the New York Giants joining us upstairs as BC punts it away. Stephen Flintoff, Mario Alford, the 25, and good stand by the Rider defense as they had gotten 3 points closer. 16-10 game. Back in a moment at BC Place in Vancouver. Great White's got to come in off the top rope for that one, I think. 16-10 BC. Entertaining game. They've gone back and forth. Patterson, little pump fake and is taken down. The Lions asserted themselves early with a couple of scores, and Riders have had one big drive that led to the touchdown, but Patterson down there, second down coming up.
Well, Patterson has used the short game, and this time he wanted to pump fake it down here to Schaefer Baker and go for the deep ball and see if he could fool Gary Peters. There's been a couple busts. Excuse me, it was the inside receiver was Schaefer Baker, but you can see down the field, if he had time to throw, he might have had some.
Second and 11. It's caught, but a good tackle in the open field there by Manny Rugamba on Samuel Emelis to force a third down for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it really was, because that's a tough pattern to cover. I mean, you're even if it's a shallow route, that receiver has got a little bit of a pick action happening. That starts it out, and then he sprints across the field, and it's really tough to track down a guy like Emelis in that. So that's a big tackle. He turns that corner there. He gets the first.
So Adam Korsak back to punt it away in the 3rd and 6. BC 4:22 and counting will get the ball back here in the first half with a 6-point lead. Terry Williams flags out for no yards, and he's not going any further. No yards is signaled.
No yards. Saskatchewan number 28. This is a 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's Malik Spraker coming in. Marcus Sayles, former BC Lion. He started his career in the CFL with Winnipeg, moving on to BC, was let go, and now very happy to be a member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Everything about Regina just feels like playing for the Lakers. You know, everybody knows you. They know you by face. You know, they come up to me and just are so excited that, you know, I've been able to make plays and just, you know, they just bring the spirit and the energy of being out here. And, you know, I couldn't ask for anything more. You know, just the culture that we have in Regina is just everything that you need to have, like a winning culture, and just feeling like, you know, this is going to be our year. So, you know, I love everything about it.
Marcus Sayles, a Grey Cup champion with the Bombers back in 2019, an All-Star with the Lions in 2022, and now with the Riders. Pressure on Adams again. Third sack for Saskatchewan. They are getting to him, especially Anthony Lanier with his second sack of this game, and they push BC way back.
Well, yeah, and again, it's not exotic blitzes that are getting the pressure on Vernon Adams. This is three-man pressure with an add-on late from C.J. Avery, but Lanier is camped a tent in the backfield.
He was double-teamed initially when Adams moved, sliding along, gets the sack. Anthony Lanier. And a second and long now, 17 to go after that loss of 7 yards for Vernon Adams. Has time. Looks left. It's caught in a crowd. And you know who? McInnes having another day as he goes over 100 yards receiving. First down on a 2nd and 17 play.
And that just feels like a kick to the gut for defense when you're 2nd and 17 and McInnes comes up with this.
At it again. 109 yards receiving. We're still in the first half.
The BC Lions have the Mullet Barbershop this evening, so does TSN. This is our lighting guru, Seth. He agreed to the Mackie mullet. We tried to get him to do the Olette, but this is looking sharp.
Looking good, Seth. Looking good.
Full reveal at halftime.
Oh, Seth, I like your spirit. Although I don't know, been giving this some thought. Is it the Mackie or the Olette? And I'm gonna let my hair grow out a long, long time, but I was thinking of the Olette.
You like the
what do you
Olette?
think? Like full gray.
Well,
how would that look?
Yeah, but Rod, how long do we have? I mean, like, have you seen A.J. Olette's hair? Like, come on.
It'd be long after my retirement, but it'd take me a while.
Another big second down here for the Rider defense.
We just saw a shot of Lake Corte Moore, who's another one of the mullet models. That was another possibility too.
More reachable.
2nd and 7. The Saskatchewan 39 for Vernon Adams. Completes it. Another first down. Aiden Eberhard with his second catch. His first one went for 55 yards, setting up a touchdown back in the first quarter.
I think some of this gain may be coming back on BC for a block that's coming back towards the line of scrimmage. There's McInnes. He's in the slot. And again, as soon as Vernon Adams gets out of the pocket and has the option to run or throw, it is almost impossible. But there was a block down the field, and see what the penalty is.
They have not moved the sticks. And it looks like the Lions are going to be pushed back.
C.J. Avery got up like he was crack-backed.
Major foul, peel back block.
Yeah.
BC number 57. It's a 15-yard penalty. Still second down.
Similar to a crackback. It's the peel back is the correct way to say it, and you can't make a block coming back towards your own line of scrimmage because that's a player that can't see you coming.
That's the left guard, Chris Schlugger.
So it's a player safety issue.
So it pushes the Lions back to the Saskatchewan 54 now. And a 2nd and 22 coming up. Their sluggers really helped solidify that Lions offensive line, by the way. Started his CFL career with Montreal. The O-line getting a lot of credit for the longest time Vernon Adams not being sacked after week 1 until last week when the Ticats got to him twice. But there's been a lot of pressure by the Riders. 3 sacks in this first half alone. 2nd and 22. Heat's coming. Complete. And down inside the 40. And that is Berryhill. Not nearly enough for a first down, but gets them closer for another Sean White try.
Well, 2nd and 22, I think the Lions will take getting back into field goal range. Realistic, especially against this defense that likes to turn the ball over.
Sean White, 38-year-old kicking machine, 3 for 3. And
just to go back to that penalty, look at the middle of your screen here. This is a big one for the Lions, and that's the block on C.J. Avery that was interpreted as coming back towards their own line of scrimmage.
Well, he had a 50 earlier. This is a 44. He's 4 for 4, and that now is 36th straight, extending the Lions franchise record for consecutive field goals made. Now just 3 behind Rene Paredes, number 2 on that consecutive list, and a long way behind, as mentioned, Lewis Ward, what he did back in 2018 and 19.
Good dude, too. Sean White. Good dude. Good guy to hang out with. They keep adding to the total. Likes to have the odd glass of red wine, Mr. White.
Speaking of which, did you enjoy your mojito?
Well,
your non-alcoholic mojito.
Yes, it was missing something, but it was very nice.
Kate the panel coming up at halftime, 1:48 in the clock. Jared Stearns has the ball. Shea Patterson has a first down, 2. As the Riders once again will try to answer back to get it up close to midfield.
Well, you take away that one pick, and it's been, a very well-played game by Shea Patterson. Actually, you heard Nathan Rourke talk about it, his former teammate in the same room. He's making some nice reads. He's finding that open man, especially against that zone, and he's taking advantage of some busts.
From the Rider 53, 1.5 minutes to go till halftime. Patterson couldn't find a receiver. He's on the run. Directing traffic, down he goes, and that's incomplete. He was looking for Stearns again.
That's one of the things you try to look at in a new and young quarterback is he's checking those boxes. And in start number 2 for Patterson, is the stage too big for him? Does he look like he's lost out there? And I would say absolutely not. I mean, the game plan is set up to keep his confidence high. It's a good decision by the Rider coaching staff. And he made the one mistake early on with the interception when he stared down his seam rope. But other than that, I think he's managed this game very well.
He's 7 for 10 for 135 yards. This is second CFL start. 2nd and 10. It's caught. It's Stearns down near the BC 50, but still about 4 yards shy of a first down and a little too far. Even with Brett Lother, who's got a strong leg, it would be a long field goal try.
The holder and the ball is 7 yards from the line of scrimmage, which is the 51.
So about a 58.
So it would be a 58-yard attempt.
Now Lother does have a leg. As said, with these long ones, the thing you always wonder about is with the if he doesn't happen to get it, and you've got Terry Williams, one of many dangerous returners. It's a long way to go to take him down. That's Manny Rugamba, the injured Lion.
Try to find Rugamba here on this crossing route. You see the right leg just hyperextended and locked out on him there. Hopefully he'll be okay.
He slowly works his way off the field. Manny Rugamba.
Boy, Rick Campbell's been happy with his Canadian defenders. Patrice Rene, Adrian Green. Kumba's played very well at the halfback spot.
In his third year out of Miami of Ohio, had been the cover linebacker and made the move back to.
And I mentioned the Canadians because they'll probably rotate one of them into that.
And so, no field goal try. It'll be Korsak to punt. They let that clock wind down as much as they can. Play clock down to 5. Take as much time off. Now under a minute till halftime for Korsak. And Williams back at the 10. And no further than the 15. Or good coverage there. A.J. Allen on special teams. Of course, he started his career, Justin McInnis, with the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, back in 2019, first-round draft pick, 6th overall by Saskatchewan. And then in free agency in 2023, you know, he felt like the Lions really, and this is not a shot at the Riders, but he felt like the Lions really wanted him. Like he said, I got calls from Vernon Adams. I got calls from the organization. I got calls from different players saying, hey, come play with us. Come over here and play in BC. And he just felt so wanted. He said, you know what? It wasn't about money. It wasn't about anything like that. It was just when Vernon Adams gave him the personal calls, he goes, you know, I want to play with this guy. Yeah.
Great year last year and better so far this year.
There he is.
And there he is again. Oh, what a howl McInnis has had. 42 seconds still. They could easily get into field goal position again.
He calls this the benders. Just go down the seam and then bend it in. Sometimes that's almost a 90-degree cut. Sometimes it's like a 45-degree post cut. Or it's just a bender. Just kind of lazy into the middle, and he gets it.
From the BC 40. And that one a bit low, and there's a fight for it. And Rider football, the combo, with the looks of things, they're saying they have it.
The official, I think, is marking it as a catch by McInnis.
They're ruling it a catch for BC.
Well, if it's simultaneous, a simultaneous catch goes to the offense. I think that McInnis had control until he hit the ground. That's the correct call.
And a gain of 2. Quickly to McInnis again. Adding to his totals as he gets it up to midfield. Still 22 seconds to go on the clock.
You know, Corey Mace at halftime is going to have to figure out a way to bring a little extra attention over there to Justin McInnis. And, you know, I mean, they're sitting back in the zone right now because they don't want to give a big one behind them before the half. But you have to roll coverage and get a little double team action on number 18.
He's outdone himself already last week in yardage. Here we go again. Oh, a brilliant defensive play. Nearly a pick for Roland Milligan. Coming across, it was heading for Kieran Poisson. And Milligan knocked that one away and nearly had the interception.
Boy, he has such great instincts coming on, you know, to a throw that is not his guy. I mean, he's over to the outside, almost came up with a catch there, but he covers a lot of territory just instinctually, comes across the middle and knocks that down. Another big defensive play by Zero.
It looks like the last play of the half. And it falls incomplete. Still 3 seconds on the clock. Another note about McInnis, by the way, Glenn. Justin McInnis is now the leading receiver in the CFL as it stands right now, not only passing Tyson Philpott, but his teammate, Alexander Hollins.
And that time, the Riders did double team. They put Roland Milligan on number 18 underneath and then had help over the top on him as well. That's the play coming across the previous play. But on that last one, they double teamed McInnis, so that's starting to kick in before they get to halftime.
He has 9 catches for 148 yards and a touchdown. And 131 last week in the first half. This is the final play of this first half as Adams is just running around and the clock winds down as he goes down. And that should be it for half number 1 as they head to the dressing room. And just favoring that right hand now on that last play. Hate to see that. As he had He was 17 of 26, 282. But his favorite target again was number 18, Justin McInnis.
No, was it ever? I mean, including a couple of second and super longs. I'm talking second and a 17. That to set up a touchdown. Big first half for Justin McInnis. So that's the challenge defensively for the Riders. Corey May's got to give a little more attention over there to number 18.
And like the game last week, big first half. Justin McInnis standing by now with Chantel.
Justin, first off, congrats, because you tied your touchdown total from last season. You got 5, over 100 yards in the first half, picking up where you left off from last game. Tell me how much confidence you're playing with right now.
Oh, all the confidence in the world. I know VA's trusting me to make big plays, especially at the end of the half, and all throughout the game, big second downs, I'm ready to go make them for them.
What are you seeing from the secondary right now that Sask is giving you that's helping you, get some space and become open and make those catches?
Yeah, they're playing a lot of soft zone, trying not to give up super deep plays, but, when you play the sidelines like that, at least watch the middle field wide open. Just got to go around and find them and make the catch.
This is a gritty Sask defense. You know they're going to make the adjustments. How do you keep this offense rolling?
Just got to keep playing physical. They want to come down and hit, but as long as we bring our A game, be the hammer, not the nail, we have a very good chance.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right, let's get you back to Kate Burness in the TSN studios.
And inside those TSN studios, we've got quite the panel for you with Jim Barker, Davis Sanchez, Mill Stegall. We're fired up because we got another great football game on the go. Currently 19-10 for the BC Lions. And shock me if you've heard this one before. Vernon Adams Jr. had quite the half of football. He's got 282 already. It would have been 331 if Alexander Hollins didn't drop that one pass. But lights out once again from VA Milts.
He's in his bag once again. He's proven that he is not only the best quarterback, but the best player in this league once again. And he made some plays in that first half that, as I like to say, not too many humans can make. BC, yes, Vernon hadn't been sacked too many times, but because he's able to be mobile and he keeps his eyes downfield and makes a big play to his favorite target there. And this play right here, this throw should not have been made because most of the time that's being intercepted. He threw it through like 3 or 4 guys, but he believes in his arm strength. He believes that he can make every single play, and so far, he's been correct. And this right here is on second and 17. This is demoralizing to a defense when you have a quarterback who can step back when it's 2nd and 17 and pretty much get the first down. So this defense has to find a way to slow down Vernon Adams, because if you give him time, he's going to eat you up, Chaz.
With Justin McInnis right now, what we're seeing, the catch radius he has, the rapport he has with VA, it's impossible for them to stop him. They got to pressure him, but they can't zone blitz him. They're zone blitzing him, and he's just sitting down those zones and getting open. You need to play man coverage, and I would press him. Get up, play man coverage, and press McInnis, rush 5, so you got to get the ball out fast. Anyway, Sask defense, I thought they were great. The front 4 in particular, you saw. The only chance they had to stop this Lions team, and they did it, is to pressure them. That's it. You saw that was a delayed blitz there. They covered 0 a couple times. This defense is going to succeed with cover zeros and getting after VA, because we saw it, and I don't think any of us believe they can stop VA and McInnis.
Well, we talked a lot about what Shea Patterson has to do to try to keep the ball away from VA, because we're going to have trouble.
Hide
it? Well, one is try to run the ball, which they didn't have a lot of success with, but they have him here dropping back and throwing against the soft zone. Not what he does well. 3-man rush. Again, they have the extra defender underneath. Now they get Emelis out in the flat off of play action, which held Rugamba and opened him up, and now a real easy flat corner read, and he reads it beautifully. The corner jumps the flat. He throws the corner. Those are the kind of things Mark Mueller has to do, but they got to get this running game going. Yeah. I just don't know if they can hold them off, if they can't get A.J. Ouellette going.
And they're only down by 9 points, so they can still run the ball. This is still a game.
A.J. Ouellette has 4 yards.
They got to run it.
4 yards rushing.
They have to.
Shea Patterson is 2nd with 1. I mean, you got to get that going.
They've got their big plays off of BC bust, too.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's
it doesn't matter how you get them.
And they've been off of play action, too. So they're drawing them up with the play action, which is what they need to do.
Okay, we got to go to break because we have a huge second block coming up. Paul Napoli standing by, straight fire, and Seth is going to reveal his mullet. It's all coming up right after this. Week 6 in the CFL wrap wraps up on Sunday night where the Elks finally get their first win of the season taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks. You can see it 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We were just talking about how the Saskatchewan Roughriders need to get the run game going. And speaking of run games, Rock Armstead has been fantastic, Paul LaPolice.
Very impressed with his play this season. You know, he's a very physical kid, 5'11", 220 pounds. The Red Blacks talk about they want to be a physical team. They've drafted physical offensive linemen. I think this is the kid that's going to make them a very physical group up front. You know, he leads the CFL in rushing. You know, basically the guys who have 4 games played, but he can spin. He's got balance. He's got vision. You want a guy who's got the ability to make people miss in space like you see him do right here. Just a very impressive player. You know, you want running backs when they get 7 yards, they get that extra 3 or 4 yards to create a 10-yard gain, and you can see him falling forward. He's always falling forward to get big plays here. This is a bounce out. He has the vision to recognize the end crash, so what you do, he bounces it out for a nice 10-yard gain. Now, for the Elks, last in the Canadian Football League, or second to last against the run. So it's going to be interesting. A weird stat is the Elks 0-5 after a bye, Kate. Very strange. So we'll see what happens as we go tomorrow night with that.
I don't think the Elks wanted to hear that stat, Lapo.
Well,
yep.
3 last-second losses for them. So you know,
we'll
see what happens.
You know what? If Rock continues to play this way, maybe one day he'll be featured on Canada's favorite segment, Straight Fire. Here we go.
Let's get it. This is Joe Mulvey. Look, this kid right here, this is the Sackville Heights. They won the flag football championship. Look at this quarterback making people miss buying time. Looking like V8 and McKinnis right here. This is Joe right here. Over the shoulder grab. You can't stop. I heard from people in Sackville, you can't stop Joel. No, you can't stop him.
What they tell
You can only hope to contain him. That's straight fire.
What they tell
Wow. Let's go to Regina, shall we? High school spring league action. Jaden Zelinka from FW Johnson Wildcat. He escapes the pressure. Somehow he could go. Oh, no, he does. What a beautiful little touchdown. You know what we call that? Straight fire.
Straight fire. Now to the Ontario Summer League and Caleb Roberts. He's going to dodge all these defenders, and the Chatham-Kent Cougar is going to take it to the house.
Straight fire.
This is what straight fire is all about.
All righty, I like that. I like that. I like that. So let's go to the U16 Saskatoon Minor Football League. And Ethan Maymer. Look at this grab, baby. Whoa. This is a typical, not typical. Oh, then he takes it up, but he doesn't fall. He keeps it going. And he takes it into the end zone. And we got to give a special shout out. Do you know Ethan drives 2 hours from Tisdale to play in this 6-week league?
Wow.
You better be making plays like this, because I'm sure his parents were like, if you're not balling and we're driving 6 hours, we're never doing it again.
You're telling me he is from Tisdale, the home of Brent Butt.
What?
One of the greatest comedians in all of Canada, really?
You think Brent would say straight fire?
He absolutely would. If you know him, he absolutely. You know what else?
Is that the guy from Corner Gas?
Yes, correct.
Yes, there it is.
I'm not even going to tell you the story of Tisdale, Saskatchewan, but it's a great place if you haven't visited. All right, you know what else is straight fire this evening? So the BC Lions, they were doing free mullet cuts, by the way, and it was great. You could pick up one of 4 guys. AJ Oletta was in there. I think David Mackey had the best one, though. So we went around the room and we're like, who would do this? Who would cut their hair? And our lighting guru, the reason we look so nice on television each and every day, Seth decided he would cut a mullet. Seth, ladies and gentlemen, but look at this hair. Seth, this is a thing of glory.
I think it looks great.
Now, does everyone agree with this? Have you sent this to your family and friends, by the way?
To friends and family, I think everyone loves it, and I think everyone agrees it looks great. You know, I think we have all credit has to go to Rena, of course.
Rena did the cut,
Good, Seth.
Seth, this is straight fire. This is the Mackey.
That is the Mackey. Yeah, that is the Mackey cut, and I think it looks pretty sharp.
Straight fire.
Straight fire.
The way you look better is put a watermelon over your head.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Vogue magazine, baby.
Love you, baby.
All right, 9-point lead for the Lions. We'll get you back right after this.
Halftime at BC plays. The Lions lead by 9. And Glenn, for all the talk about Justin McInnes and 9 catches, 148. Look at those numbers. Big part of the Riders offense. Samuel Emelis, 4 catches for 119.
Yeah, absolutely. The playmakers are there for Saskatchewan. They'll get the ball first to start the second half, and that offense can go to work.
And Mario Alford is back there. Jarrett Stearns. By the way, Vernon Adams Jr., 604 yards passing in his last 2 first halves. Had a big first half in Hamilton last week. And is thrown for 282. And a touchdown in this one. Second half begins. Riders trailing by 9, but they get the ball in their hands. Back it goes to Alford at the 20, 25. Sit down, says BC. Coming in there is Patrice Rene on special teams.
A great form tackle on one of the best returners in the game in Mario Alford. Man, what a way to start the second half. Maybe just say defense coming to play here. Watch this. Down the field, Alford puts the brakes on just in time to absorb that big hit.
Patrice Rene just making the most of his chance after injuries derailing the early part of his career, but having a good season now and on the ground. Studio talked about it. Kate mentioned they got to get the running game going. It's amazing that A.J. Ouellette only had 4 yards rushing, and one of those running plays was for a touchdown in the first half.
It's true. However, I would also add that a lot of the passing game was real short. I mean, get it out to Emelis in the flat, just a nice 10-yard throw, and he turned it into a big play after that. So kind of extended running game when you're throwing it that quickly.
But statistically, all season long so far, the lowest rushing totals in the Canadian Football League for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a 2nd and 6. From the 30 now. And passing is Patterson. Patterson completes it to the aforementioned Samuel Emelis, adding to his totals there, and a first down for the Riders.
Well, not only do I like this throw from Shea Patterson, but I also like the fact that with poise, he's going to look into the middle briefly and then turn and sling it right in there. I mean, that little turn, that freezes the middle linebacker, doesn't allow Hladik to slide underneath that. Veterans do that kind of thing.
First down from the Rider 41, back to Ouellette. And he's got some yards to work with, then a spin, his biggest play. In green and white, A.J. Ouellette, and a first down all the way down to the BC 40. And finally, he breaks out.
Get a pull from Ryan Sevior, who's going to come around, and he seals the deal and it gets A.J. Ouellette started. And once he gets started, watch 54 get in there. He gets that first block. Then the guys down the field. You're going to see Mitch Picton make a block here, 81. He makes a block down the field to give Ouellette a couple more.
A gain of 27 yards for A.J. Ouellette. His previous high had been 19. Longest carry in Rider green and white. And right back to him inside the 40 as he picks up about 3-4 more yards.
And maybe the best mullet on the field, by the way.
It's got my vote.
But, you know, I do agree with the panel, and you make a good point. I think a balanced attack for a young quarterback is crucial. I mean, it gets him into the play action. It buys him an extra second to throw the football. So if they can get A.J. Ouellette going in this second half, and that's a good start, that'll really help Shea Patterson.
2nd and 7 now for Patterson and the Rider offense. They're down by 9. They're on the move. Deep look to the end zone. Confusion for Jarrett Stearns, who got turned around. He was in behind coverage, but didn't know where the ball was.
Well, he lost the ball initially, and then tried to flip his head around to see if it was coming the other shoulder. So he's looking over and can't find it. Turns back. I think it almost hit him. I mean, he catches that. Can't believe it.
One of those oh my goodness moments for Jarrett Stearns and the Riders. So 3rd and 7 now, and there's an injured Saskatchewan player getting some attention on the field. It's the right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick, with the training staff on.
Boy, he's been as advertised too,
hasn't he? Big addition to that offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only, you know, what he's doing on the field, protecting the quarterbacks, but also just the leadership. And, you know, a guy that helps you validate. You know, he helps you validate the process. So you're in your work week, and you have a guy like Hardrick who's been to all those championships go, you know what, guys, we're doing the right things. Just keep with it. That's one of the reasons they're 4-0.
And the cart does come on now with Jamarcus Hardrick, the right tackle, still down in the field. We'll take a break here at BC Place. Back in a moment. An awful sight for the Riders. Jamarcus Hardrick, all-star last year, West nominee for top offensive lineman, big free agent acquisition, and needing the cart to come on as he has taken off. And as you talked about, Glenn, had been making a difference up front offensively for the Riders this year.
Big time. So they will bring in the extra lineman dressed in this one tonight is Zach Fry, number 67. Not necessary to replace him at tackle, but we'll see how they line up after this field goal attempt.
So the special teams unit on now. Brett Lother is to try a field goal, be about 47 yards, to see if they can get back to within 6 points of BC. 1 for 1, had the short one earlier. Adam Korsak to put it down. Lother, it's heading left, and it looks like it is wide left. Terry Williams takes it in the end zone, brings it out.
Here he goes.
And here we go with Williams down the right side, finally bumped out. Lother is there to make sure he goes no further, and Lother with a lot of contact to get Williams out after a 54-yard return following a 47-yard try that went wide left.
Not by much. Lother's at 82% coming into this game tonight. Didn't miss by much, and that was some big-time contact to get Terry Williams out of bounds. Looks like he's okay, though.
So they'll scrimmage from their 40 now, a 1st and 10. Still with a 9-point lead for Vernon Adams. Jameer Thurman was coming in, trying to set up a screen over to the right, and that ball's incomplete, intended for William Stanback.
Well, when you take a look at Justin McInnis and his first halves over the last 2 weeks, this is just half of the game, just first half. And now in Hamilton, the score was different. So, you know, it looked like the Lions took their foot off the pedal a little bit, especially offensively, but that's not the case tonight. Another big first half for Justin McInnis.
Adams. And in traffic, and that is caught by McInnis. Right around what would be for a first down as well, up around the 50.
Very close. See where they marked this, because, you know, at forward progress, I would say, yeah, he was within a yard anyway of the marker. That's where he catches it there.
Spotting it further back, though, much further back.
They brought it back. They don't think he was down by contact at that, and that's Rick Campbell's not happy with that spot at all. He's going to challenge
flag out. Yeah, he does not like the spot of that ball, and you can see why. Around the 50.
Well, because where he initially caught it was probably in the zone where they could go wedge in short yardage on 3rd down, even if it wasn't past the marker. But they marked it way back, 3 or 4 yards.
He had to get it to the 50, which is about where he was, and you're right, a little bit shy when he caught the ball. It is spotted at the 47. Big difference. It'd be 3rd and 3 right now.
Where we make a ruling is where it goes. I won't challenge the spot. BC has challenged the previous play. So it will be reviewed.
So they're going to review it. We'll figure it out.
Discussion with referee Tim Croker, and they are challenging Rick Campbell. Did say, you could hear him saying to Tim Croker he wants to challenge the spot. And this is what they're challenging. Justin McInnis' catch, which would look like he was close to a first down at the 50. Catches it, well, about the 49, but rolled back to about the 47, which is where they spotted the ball. With C.J. Rivas pushing him back after the catch. Command center taking a look at this one. We'll be back. The command center reviewing this play. The catch by Justin McInnis. They marked him back at the 47. Rick Campbell challenging, and here's the ruling.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It's third down.
Third down and 3, not third down and 1.
BC, by losing its challenge, has lost a timeout.
Yeah, and not catching it.
Yeah,
initially,
then he went down and no one touched it.
Initially, I get the challenge from Rick Campbell because it looked like he had possession when he caught it, so that would be forward progress, and then he's down. But what they ruled was that there was movement of the ball. He didn't have control until he got pushed back 3 yards. And then he went down there as well, so that's why it was ruled back 3 yards from the line from the marker.
So there you go, back at the 47 now for 3rd and 3, and that's the difference is they'll have to punt now. Stefan Flintoft is on at his 33. Mario Alford back awaiting this one. Takes it at the Rider 15. Alford, after a point of 48 yards, gets it across the 25. Their head coach, Corey Mace, from Port Moody, BC, here in the Lower Mainland. And Vancouver home. And another interesting connection, Glenn, that is Eric Fraser, former CFL player with Calgary and Ottawa, BC too, but they were teammates in Calgary, and lo and behold, Eric Fraser's a pilot now, and he happened to be flying the plane that brings Corey Mace and that charter flight and the Saskatchewan Roughriders back to Vancouver for him, his first appearance back home as a head coach. Eric Fraser, they were teammates and roommates.
Well, and you know, Eric Fraser was a DB, and he was drafted by Calgary, so they were teammates. But he was also drafted in the expansion draft to Ottawa when Ottawa came back. Eric Fraser. So really cool to have those two guys, former teammates, unite on the charter flight on the way. That's cool.
And he told us a story, Corey Mace did, when we asked him about his first CFL game as a fan growing up here in the Vancouver area, and it was here against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah.
Josh Archibald, who's the sack leader for BC coming in, had 3. He gets to him there, and we hear from Chantal that the right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick, his day is done. We saw earlier he was taken off on a cart, so a blow to the offensive line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And where did that sack come from? It came from that side of the Saskatchewan offensive line, and Archibald had to work for this one. Now, he gets blocked pretty well and pushed past. Man, that's Logan Furlan,
who is normally a guard and moving outside after the injury. So here, after the punt of 37 yards and the return by Terry Williams, gets it up near midfield. So Adams and the Lions offense quickly back on the field now, and they have the lead. That is Chris Tomofachuk, who's wearing that number 24 jersey. CFL fans, he is trying to break a record in how quickly he can be in all 9 CFL stadiums. To do it in 15 days. The guy beside him is the one who has the Guinness record. And Chris and their friends, he was inspired by him to raise money for cancer. He started in Winnipeg, his original hometown. He lives in Ottawa now, but he started last night with the Stamps and the Bombers, and Chris Tomofachuk is here at this game, and in 2 weeks' time he's to go to his last one in Toronto. So it's Justin McInnes picking up where he left off inside the 35, and a first down for the Lions on the move.
We're going to watch and see what Saskatchewan does with Justin McInnes in this second half. Clearly they dropped into that zone again. And you heard David Sanchez, former DB, talking about at halftime that, you know, one way to try and limit him is to get press coverage on him, play more man, send more pressure at VA. Well, that is Justin McInnes slow to get up here.
He is still sitting down with the medical staff of the Lions out. They appear somewhere in the left leg.
Oh, and with the way they're doing that, it looks like they're stretching the calf, which would indicate a cramp. Hot day in here in Vancouver. And he's run about, what, 50 miles tonight?
Sure seems like it. Yeah, 11 catches for 177 yards in that touchdown.
Well, in the first half, he had 52.4% of Vernon Adams' passing yards. And now it's at 56.9 with that catch. Thank you, John Russin, our stats guy, who is feeding me some great information here on just how dominant Justin McInnis has been. So
Johnny Russin right on top of that. And good to see McInnis getting up, and looked like a cramp he's able to jog off to the sideline. And
you get a sense for his size and wingspan when you see him, and when we saw him in the interview beside Chantel, and just how tall and big a target he is.
Well, when we talked to him a couple of days ago, if you could imagine having a game like he had in Hamilton, and he couldn't. That was the game of his life, and now he's trumping that just a week later with what he's doing so far. 1st and 10. Ryder 33. Adams throws, deflected, nearly intercepted. Eberhardt came in. Poisson was in the area too. 2 receivers close by, and it was Eberhardt that got his hands on the ball and deflected it up.
Slot receiver, and that's exactly where Justin McInnis into the boundary has lined up. Catchable ball, but McInnis being much taller, that's what Vernon Adams is used to throwing.
So incomplete, 2nd and 10. 9-point BC lead, in position to add to it. Adams to the right, it's intercepted! Picked off Roland Milligan. Their interceptions leader has another, and was he face masked while being taken down? It looks like it, as a flag does come out. So Milligan, we talked about him earlier, injured through much of last season, and off to a great start so far in this one.
Intended target is right here, and Milligan on that halfback spot is going to be inside on Barry Hill.
After
and watch out to this
major foul, face mask, BC number 62. It's 15-yard penalty. It's 1st down, Saskatchewan.
There's the penalty call, and as he came out of his break, Barry Hill, he stumbled just a little bit. There's the face mask at the end of it. Vernon Adams continues with the throw, and Milligan coming downhill just continues to run the route. Number 4 on the season.
That is number 4, as you mentioned, and number 2 only. Just the 2nd interception thrown by Vernon Adams this season. The first one was back in week 1 in Toronto. Big play, Milligan. The interceptions leader. Little fake thrown to Emilus, trying to make it happen after the catch, and he does. Close to a 1st down as he takes down our poor cameraman as well, and helps him up as well. That's a dangerous spot down there. The camera working the sidelines.
Darryl looks like he'll be okay down there. Coming right at you. This is his look.
This is Darryl's point of view. And just a 2nd and inches. The BC 34. And a 1st down for the Riders.
We talked in the first half about that Rider defense able to create the turnovers, leading the league in that regard, creating 9 interceptions coming into the night, 5 fumble returns, 14 total takeaways. You're looking at 3 per game. So even though offensively still finding their way, that defense keeps you in a game.
Turnovers are even, 1 apiece right now after that interception by Milligan. 1st and 10 at the BC 32 now. Shea Patterson quickly to Sean Bain. Had a quieter afternoon, but he has enough there for a 1st down after a family tragedy kept him away from the team last week. Bain back with the Riders.
Moving the chains, most important. New set of downs, can go back and open the playbook. He can. There's Bain out there in the wideout spot. Working with Schaefer Baker. Got Ouellette going down the seam. Trying to get a block.
The 2nd catch of the day for Sean Bain. Down 21. They're coming in and running hard as A.J. Ouellette gets it down to the 15. So a better running second half for the big bruising running back of Saskatchewan.
was edge pressure this time coming here, and they run right away from it. So the right call at the right time for edge pressure from BC. There's linebacker coming up the field, Patrice Rene, and run right away from it.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Riders inside the 20, down by 9, thinking end zone. Looking end zone for MLS. Coverage is there, it's knocked away. Incomplete, and a 3rd down is coming up. Patrice Rene.
Got some help from his safety, Adrian Green, as well, who's just going to flow to the football here on this corner route. It's a tough one to get to, although it is the short side of the field. So the safety's responsibility there will be the short side wide out or corner to help him, and the halfback. And you see Green coming over to help Rene. Those are the 2 Canadians we're talking about, and how happy Rick Campbell has been with those guys.
And the camps they had made it possible to let go Marcus Sayles, who's now with the Riders. And that field goal is good for Brett Lother. So they chip away. They get down. They get 3 at the board. They're back to within 6 on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in Vancouver. Marcus Sayles started his CFL career in Winnipeg, won a championship, and then he went to BC. And he became an all-star with the Lions in 22 and 3 seasons, and you know this means something coming back now. Let's go back to Chantel Chan.
Yeah, I had a chance to speak with Marcus earlier this week, and we talked about his return to BC. And he says, there's no hard feelings. I've been cut before, but I'm really grateful to be with Saskatchewan. He said Coach Corey Mace called him and said, it's time. And right away, he loved his energy. And ever since that, he's felt really comfortable in this defense. He also said that he knows his boy is BA, and they talk all the time still, but they got to limit those explosive plays from him. He also mentioned that he still talks to Gary Peters and TJ Lee all the time. He said that him and Gary Peters have been back and forth on the phone all week, and he said, listen, we know Gary Peters is the best trash talker, but you might see me in the end zone tonight, guys.
He was last week.
He sure was, and that was a big one too. That was the difference point-wise in the Riders' win, is pick 6 against Toronto. On the ground, William Stanback. And to follow up on Sayles suits, you know, you talked about earlier, normally a player goes against the team that cut them. There's animosity there. And as Chantel talked about, we did not sense any from him.
Not really. He really appreciated Ryan Phillips, defensive coordinator here in BC, and what he learned from him. And you know, but he did mention his teammate Roland Milligan, and he wanted to be clear that as good as Gary Peters, TJ Lee, guys that have been teammates of his,
Winston Rose in Winnipeg,
he said he thinks Milligan is that player.
Adams open. McInnes seems just fine, thank you. Big catch, another first down, and maybe the cramp is coming back. He got off slowly before when that left leg was cramping, and the helmet comes off now as he's hurting again, but that's after another big catch.
Boy, and these linebackers, I saw CJ Avery just get up shaking his head like, how close are we, how deep do you have to get into those benders that McInnes talks about? Over 200 yards with that catch tonight, and we're not done the third quarter yet.
And he is the CFL's leading receiver in yardage. Justin McInnes doing that, passing Tyson Philpott to another big week.
Now this though is, let's think of the pace that these guys are on. We're talking 2,000-yard receivers that happen to be Canadian.
Top 2 receivers in the CFL, both talented Canadian receivers. Justin McInnes, Tyson Philpott. What a start he's had, and unfortunately, but you know, hoping that this is nagging right now in the game, but hopefully nothing serious. It looked to be a cramp before.
Well, Rick Campbell has to be careful here now. You know, because now that he's got the cramp and the calf has done that, and you know, it's not right. He's got to be careful not to push it and maybe lose 18 for a couple of weeks. So be smart how he Does now, especially after 2, and it looks like this is a little more permanent, him coming off right now.
And despite all the changes in the receiving corps from one year to the next for BC, it still looks like an embarrassment of riches. Keon Hatcher has been out since last year's Western Final.
And he's close, yeah.
And he's getting close to a return, and McInnes in Hatcher's old spot in the boundary slot. Curious to see how they use them all when Hatcher does come back. 1st and 10, the 43. That is Hollins. What a move on Deontay Williams to pick up more yardage. Alex Hollins inside the Rider 30.
A lot of space out there. They say it's a lonely place to be out there on the corner. It's you and that receiver, a little slant route. He catches it. Watch the move. Big plant there with the left foot. Stick that left foot in the ground and get up and get another 3 to get to the first down marker.
Get it down to the Saskatchewan 28. To the Riders, just closed it to 6 again. It's been that kind of game lately since the second quarter. Wavering from 9 points to 6 points, and BC's threatening again. William Stanback had that big day running and receiving last week in Hamilton as he gets that one down just inside the 25.
This is one thing that Jameer Thurman does very well. There's so many real good middle linebackers in the league right now. Watch him scrape to the hole, take away the A-gap, and then slide outside. A-gap between center and guard, then slide outside to that C-gap outside the tackle and bring down William Stanback.
Middle linebacker for the Riders, his first year with Saskatchewan. He was with Hamilton last year and with Calgary for a few seasons before that. Pressure coming. Adams gets rid of it. Down to the end zone. Coming down close for Hollins. Had a shot at it. Coming in a bit low in front of him and went down but just couldn't hang on to it. And 3rd down coming up BC.
Yeah, full pressure now. Here's Jameer Thurman again, and watch Lanier on the right side. They're going to get up the field. He gets double teamed. There's pressure in the face of Vernon Adams, so he's got to get rid of it and hope that Hollins can turn it and come back towards the ball just off his hands. That was a tougher one, way tougher than the drop early in this game. He had to really fight to get back to that one.
So instead, Sean White comes on. He has been perfect so far in this game from 32 away. And he is still perfect. The streak continues. And they're busy doing updates on that one. Well, the tennis action will continue and conclude at Wimbledon with the gentlemen's final Sunday morning. Novak Djokovic, Carlos Alcaraz. What a final that is. And you can see it. Breakfast at Wimbledon, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on TSN. Got one of the legends all time in the sport and one of the young up-and-coming superstars in Alcaraz. They meet again in a Grand Slam final. Here in BC, 22-13 now, 9-point lead restored for the Lions. Winding down in the 3rd quarter to the final minute. Shea Patterson taking to Bain. Dumps it off to Ouellette. Head of steam across the 45 for Ouellette. He beats Bo Lacombo and heads out of bounds.
Great contact there. Bo Lacombo is getting more playing time. When Ben Hladic went down, Lacombo played for him in this spot. Now Ben Hladic is back, but because Josh Woods went down, Hladic's in the middle, and Lacombo hustles up from that strong side spot. Watch the contact.
Under a minute till 3/4 time at 2nd and 3. Riders flags out. It's caught. Kean Schaefer-Baker. First catch of this game, and it's a big one. Still on his feet. Breaks loose inside the 20, down inside the 15. As mentioned, a flag came out with the snap of the ball.
Well, I'm not sure if he was drawn, but it looked like
offside. BC number 0. Penalties declined.
Siona Tahema was offside. That's about what I was going to say. He was coming off the edge. It was a blitz by BC, and the question is, can the young Shea Patterson pick up the blitz? The offside comes from that side. There's a blitz pressure coming up the middle. You see Lacombo on a twist. That's picked up by Ouellette. There's the slant route from Schaefer-Baker. He reads it. He's the blitz beater right down the middle. And how about the second effort to get into the red zone?
49-yard catch and run And he did have one other catch earlier, a 5-yarder, but that's the biggest one. Down inside the 15, Riders in business. Toss inside of the sweep. Emilus taking advantage of his abilities, considerable as they are, after he has the ball in his hands. We've seen that as he gets close to another first down, Saskatchewan.
Crossbuck action here where Ouellette's going one way and Emilus comes around the corner the other. Definitely run the ball here.
A 2nd and 1.
Quarterback keeper.
The keeper by Patterson has the first down. And as the 3rd quarter ends, the Roughriders have a great chance to cut this BC lead down to 3 if they can get into the end zone to start the 4th. And they've had some near misses in a game they're trying to tighten up for Corey Mace and the unbeaten Saskatchewan Roughriders. Back at BC Place, we look at the numbers through 3 and set the stage for the 4th quarter with the Riders threatening to get it to within 3 points.
Well, 2 top teams in the West, 2 4-win teams. The Saskatchewan Roughriders haven't lost this season under Corey Mace. We've got over 600 yards of offense on the board already after 3 quarters. Kind of what we expected between these 2 teams, and they're delivering again. It's, you know, it almost comes down to maybe the deciding play here. Might be the special teams, might be like a return or a block kick that turns the tide. We'll see, but they're putting on a show. 2 top teams in the West.
They sure are, and it's typical Saskatchewan, even though they're behind in net yards. They haven't led in net yards in any of their games, and they've won them all. And well, turnovers, too, have been a big factor.
Well, that's the one of the reasons is that turnover ratio at +10 coming in.
There we go, 1st and goal at the BC 4. Shea Patterson, 2nd CFL start, looking for another win, trying to get closer. Under pressure, they've got him. He is sacked. Coming in is Bo Lacombo. That takes Patterson down for a long 2nd and goal now.
Real nice rush lane from Bo Lacombo as he comes kind of inside and then around to get to Shea Patterson. He's going to close down the edge a little bit, and it makes a tough angle for Schaefer Baker to get there to kick out the linebacker. The Riders had it blocked up, but they couldn't get Schaefer Baker in position because of the lane that Lacombo took.
3rd sack by the BC defense on Shea Patterson in this game. 2nd and goal at the Lions 11. Patterson looking to take off. Does take off inside the 5, down to the goal line. His helmet came off. Patterson's helmet came off just down near the goal line. It is about a foot or 2 shy. And a 3rd down coming up.
Well, he had the 18-yard touchdown against Toronto. A very similar play last week, just like this, with his great speed to the outside, and then decides, I'm going to lower the shoulder and get there. Loses his hat. Forward progress should be right around the 1-yard line. But the ball didn't cross the plane, I don't believe.
It was Pete Robertson taking him down. Patrice Rene had the hit up high that knocked the helmet off. And he is in, and it's 3rd and goal. What a pivotal moment in this football game. Lions lead by 9. Riders threatening to close it out, and a big test for the BC defense now. 3rd down. Patterson keeps waiting a signal. Still no signal.
Now they're talking about it.
Now they're discussing it.
I think you're right, Rod. There was no signal. Touchdown from the officials at this point.
Oh, they're saying
first down BC.
First down BC. A turnover on downs.
Well, let's see if there's any angle that might give Corey Mace a chance to challenge where the forward progress was. Did the ball cross the plane? Can't tell from that angle. Boy, it's awful tough to see it when you're down on the goal line like this. You got to see the ball, and it's got to cross the plane, and nothing there conclusive. Saying first down, BC.
Oh, the Riders got so close, within a foot. But it's a turnover on downs. BC takes over, still up by 9, early fourth quarter. Riders trying to stay unbeaten and improve to 5-0. The Lions, who lost in week 1, trying to take over first in the West. Adams, under pressure, gets rid of it. No, incomplete. He wanted Hollins with Milligan right there. Second down coming up.
Justin McInnes has not returned to the offense just yet. When I mentioned a little more permanent, as in missing a few series, so we'll see if he can return. In the meantime, haven't said this all year long, but Alexander Hollins is fighting it a little bit.
He's had a couple of drops. It could have been touchdowns. This 9-point lead, big second down for the Riders defense now as they're forcing Adams out of the pocket. Intercepted. Picked off. Deonte Williams has it. And the Rider offense will be back on the field and right back in business on the second interception of this game, thrown by Vernon Adams. That'll fire up Corey Mace and all the rest in green and white. Deonte Williams to the rescue for Saskatchewan.
This defense creates turnovers. There was one interception for Vernon Adams. That was in game 1 of this season and 199 attempts. He went without another one. Now he's thrown 2 in the last 5 throws. Big pick, especially in plus territory for Deonte Williams.
Williams gets that one. Roland Milligan got the earlier one 5 passes ago. So first and goal. Riders right back at it. A.J. Ouellette inside the 5. Turns around, backs up. 3, 2, 1. And a touchdown Saskatchewan. He just kept pushing. And he finds the end zone for the second time in this game.
And Vernon Adams, Rod, is talking to his defense and talking to the guy saying, that was on me. That one is on me. I put my defense in a bind, putting them back on the field in that territory. I say let's give the credit to Deonte Williams with the pick, the sudden change, and you're right. A.J. Ouellette just not denied. He gets help from the big boys pushing behind him.
Wow. And second touchdown on the ground, A.J. Ouellette in this game. And frustrating on the ground for the Riders this season, but really breaking out and at a critical time, too. As he gets a little bump in for his head coach, Corey Mace. Going after Brett Lawther. So just they had the turnover on downs, but then the quick turnover thrown by Vernon Adams, and back they were in first and goal, and it took a little bit longer, but they do cash in and get it to within 3. Or 2 points.
Well, Deonte Williams reads the mail here. If you're throwing an out route, that's why Vernon Adams is pointing at himself. If you're throwing an out route here, it has to be on time. If it's not on time, the DB cuts underneath it. He's lucky he didn't just score right there, but it only took one play. A.J. Ouellette pounds it in there, and the big boys get in behind him and start rooting this out. They just push, 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 push. And 45 ends up across the goal line.
Every two-point game, 22-20. BC still leads, but the Riders, what a fourth quarter team this year. Right from week 1 in Edmonton when they were down, came all the way back to win that game.
No question. When you include to the points tonight, 65-27 in the fourth quarter, Corey Mace has got his team finishing strong.
And they try a little dribble short kick. Lawther recovers it over the 40. Flags come out. But this looks like Saskatchewan football.
Well, it went 10. The question is, was someone offside?
There's no foul in play.
Okay, they were looking
10 yards and it's legally touched by Saskatchewan. It's first down.
Brett Lowther knows exactly where that ball had to go before he could touch it. If he touches it before 10 yards here, it's an illegal play. They throw the flag because they're not sure if he touches it right in there. But again, the review
First down, Saskatchewan.
Video can help them verify the fact that he didn't. Surprises the BC Lions. How about that call? Because if that doesn't work, Vernon Adams is in plus territory.
He'd have it around the Saskatchewan 40. They take a chance. And the payoff there for Saskatchewan on special teams and well executed by Brett Lowther. Dribbles it along. It had to go 10. It did. He falls on it. And they're within 2 points of BC now, and they have the ball at their 41. Momentum in this game has really changed. Fourth quarter, points off turnovers, and it's 10-0. This is a typical Saskatchewan story this year. How they take advantage of those turnovers as well. So Shea Patterson to the right, it's caught. It's Schaefer Baker at midfield and more. He's been working hard after contact as he gets it into the Lions zone.
How about throwing a little sidearm, just different arm angle for Shea Patterson, who, as we mentioned last week, right off the top, had to make 2 first downs to seal the deal against Toronto in his first start. He's got ice in his veins here, too. He's down by 2. No worries on the road. Jam-packed here, and he changes his arm angle and completes that one.
You can just sense a different energy on that Riders sideline right now, inside the 50 of BC. Here comes Saskatchewan, 1st and 10. Patterson eludes the rush for a while, but no. It's Jonah Tavai, whose brother J.R. Tavai used to play in the CFL. He picks up a big sack on Patterson.
Now listen, there's lots of time left. If it was down 2 or 3 minutes, I would say that 2 or 3 minutes, I would say that, you cannot give up a sack down by 2 here, but this is still with 10 minutes. He's trying to make a play and peel out of there, and he's got great speed. So if he gets away from Tavai there, he can get out on the edge like we've seen Vernon Adams tonight, and he will look downfield and can be dangerous. So I don't think you fault him there as far as never giving up a sack in that situation.
Quite the football family. 6 brothers who all played Division I college ball, the Tavais. There's one in the NFL with New England. 2nd and 23. 3-man rush only. Patterson completes it underneath. And that's Emilus, midfield. Back to the 50. Ball comes out! Is this another turnover? Still fighting for it. Lions, as they discuss a BC football. Manny Rugamba's the one that comes away with it. Emilus wasn't going to get the first down, but got it back into the Lions zone. But BC has it now near midfield. Rugamba. So BC now is winning the turnover battle, +1 in this one. 3rd time the Riders have been turned over, and Vernon Adams going to work. He throws, and it's low, intended for Alexander Hollins around midfield. 2nd down coming up.
Yeah, that turnover created great hustle from the defensive line for Josh Archibald, who created that turnover. Now, you see the strip from behind. This is flat-out hustle to rush the passer, come all the way back, and get after the receiver on the crossing route. And what it does is it grabs all the field position, even if they're stopped, and the Rider defense responds here.
2nd and 10. BC at their 49. Pressure is coming on Adams. He gets rid of it. Deep ball. Open receiver, and it is caught this time. Hollins with a big catch. DeMarcus Fields right there in coverage, but he hauls it down, and there's another injured Rider in the field.
Well, first let's look at the play. William Stanback is going to pick up the blitz coming from the middle. So a little bit of a stunt up front. It's going to be C.J. Avery. He comes up, picked up nicely right here. That gives a chance to Vernon Adams to get it down the field on the deep ball. He launches it, and a guy who's been fighting it all night comes up with a catch.
Hollins came in leading the CFL in receiving yards, came into this week But as Glenn talked about, a couple of drops that could have been touchdowns. And once more of the play of the #1 receiver, along with McInnes for the BC Lions. The injured rider is Micah Johnson, who is now up and now jogging off. Good sign there. Inside the 15 now of Saskatchewan's, or Rick Campbell's BC Lions. And see this game suddenly get very close, just a 2-point lead. Under 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. And you see McInnes is back out in the huddle and stretching out that left leg. He's had to leave twice because of cramping. He's had a remarkable game. 12 catches, 203 yards, and a touchdown for number 18, Justin McInnes. From the Saskatchewan 14. Handing off. Williams stand back, and a good tackle by C.J. Rivas. Got in behind, got down at the feet, and made sure he went no further.
Well, this is, clearly Justin McInnes is a little bit careful with that calf, because he was lined up as a tight end on this play, and Rivas goes around him and makes a tackle in the backfield. Can't blame Justin McInnes for being a little cautious on that calf when he's got a blocking assignment, but big play by Rivas.
2nd and 7 now. Adams takes off. 10, 5, touchdown. Vernon Adams calls his own number and takes it in for a much-needed BC major.
Riders have been providing some pressure. We've seen Lanier in the backfield. They've sent some blitz. See Cox coming around the corner, and that's what flushes Vernon Adams Jr. out to the right, and he gets a key block from his fullback, David Mackey, inside the 5-yard line to get him across the goal line.
Mackey working on the X-line, Marcus Sales, so it's 4 plays, 61 yards in under 2 minutes. All the momentum lately had been Saskatchewan's. BC takes them back in a big way there to establish a 9-point lead again. A rushing touchdown this time for Vernon Adams, who sits on 399 yards passing.
Got to get to that big block on this touchdown run from Vernon Adams. That's David Mackey. Now his route in the play is to push to the flat from the tight end position. There he goes out to the flat, but the play's not over. Vernon Adams is creating. Watch David Mackey, the fullback now. Find a guy to block. Get on him. Pads on pads and open up a run lane so that Vernon Adams can get that last 5 yards to get the pay dirt.
So back to 9. Flintoff kicking off. Still lots of time for the Riders halfway through the fourth quarter, needing to get their momentum back. And that will help with Mario Alford. That's a big return. He gets that up across the 35 for Shea Patterson. They head back on. Patterson 16 of 21. He's thrown for 270 yards, and he's been picked off once.
But keep in mind, still lots of time, and it's a 2-possession game, so field goal matters. If they can get in field goal range first, put the defense back out there and see if they can get the stop to have the ball last. Have the ball last in a 1-possession game.
Zach Fry in on the offensive line now after the injury to the right tackle, Jamarcus Hardrick. Fry in his 2nd year out of Western. Logan Furlan is playing that tackle spot. A.J. Ouellette has some room and another big run and a hurdle too. Up across the 50 and a first down on the ground for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Some big boys up front here. Take care of business right at the point of attack. Big on big opens up the hole, and A.J. Ouellette. This is tough on the DB. That was Ronald Kent going, do I brace myself for contact here? I'm going to brace myself and go low, and just hurdled him.
Normally the go-to move for 45 is just put the head down and steamroll. There he goes again. Ouellette up to midfield. But he's needed a breakout game because it's been slow going since he came to Saskatchewan. He was averaging 3.4 yards a carry. He's a little hobbled there as he gets up, but he's at 72 yards so far in this game.
Well, started that second half with, on the first drive, at 27-yarder. So it looks like he's going to definitely have to go out for 3 plays at least now, because the training staff will have to come out and attend to him. And you wonder again, just the heat and humidity here in Vancouver, that is this a cramp?
Ouellette, who made a name for himself with the Toronto Argonauts, winning a Grey Cup in 2022 and taking over that #1 running back spot after an injury to Andrew Harris. That's how he got his chance in 22. There's Clint Ratkovich.
Well, this looks like more than
just cramping.
Don't want to guess here, but
Saskatchewan running back A.J. Ouellette. Well, tomorrow Indiana Fever face the #1 team in the Western Conference, the Minnesota Lynx, for another WNBA clash. Don't miss it. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. And TSN. We'll miss Caitlin Clark. That one. Ouellette walks off.
Really good news that he's walking off. Little jog at the end. I think he'll be back.
67 yards in the second half out of that yardage. Clint Ratkovich in the backfield now, replacing him. Stays in to protect, and it's off the hands of the intended receiver, Jareth Stearns. And so third down is coming up, and Corsack is coming on to punt this football away.
Manny Rugamba is having himself a game in that BC secondary. That Stearns little cross motion then cuts across the face of Rugamba. Remember, he recovered that fumble created by Archibald and now gets the knockdown.
So Terry Williams back. If BC can hang on and win, they would improve to 5-1, and they'd be alone in first place in the West, and the Riders would lose for the first time this season, but there is still time after a punt of 46. Calling upon the Saskatchewan defense again is Corey Mace to stop Vernon Adams. They've managed to pressure him. They've picked him off a couple of times, and yet he is still on the threshold of another 400-yard passing game. He's at 399. He is at 4 400-yard passing games in his career.
Well, I think he, averaging 350 a game coming in wasn't good enough. I think, we can add to that.
You'd think it might be.
Yeah. But this is even pushing the pace. I mean, he keeps up with this, and this against a good defense. He keeps going, and he's going to pass that Flutie mark over 6,000,
which is a big ask, but on pace now for over 6,000. You talked about, and on the ground to William Stanback. So
Micah Johnson's got to be careful here with whomever he's sparring with. Lanier over there just remind him, don't worry, it's all about second down now.
A 2nd and 5 after that pickup by Stanback. This is quieter on the ground for William Stanback. 8 carries, 15 yards. And 14 through the air. 2nd down. Wide open Justin McInnes. How many times have we seen it? How many times has it been said in the last 2 weeks?
Well, he's on fire. He's on a roll, and this is press coverage across the board. It looked like, and then all of a sudden he just gets let go. I mean, it was a corner route, and C.J. Avery just kind of dropped him. I think that was supposed to be, from Corey Mace's point of view, cover 2-man, which is three guys deep and man-to-man underneath, and I don't think Avery got the call.
Get a bit of a feeling of what Mark Washington might have been thinking last week with Hamilton's beleaguered defense, thanks in large part to McInnes, and that's back to Stanback in the first down, and he's going nowhere.
What is McInnes at now? I mean, he's pushing 250 in this game. 227 right now. And a carefully run corner out there. That wasn't a full-speed corner, but if you drop a coverage against Vernon Adams, and the veteran will make you pay for it.
And by the way, I just mentioned beforehand, but with that, he'd gone over Adams 400 for the 5th time in his career. He's at 423 right now. And it's still a game. I mean, it's a 2-score game, a 9-point BC lead. They haven't been able to shake the Riders by any means. Saskatchewan got it to within 2. They've had their chances too. The clock starts to become an enemy for the Riders. Still a CFL eternity at 4:10. Pressure, and Adams gets rid of it. Oh, caught again. DeMarcus Fields is right there on McInnes, but the total just keeps going up, and we got a flag out now and some tempers flaring.
Well, McInnes's reach, we'll sort out this flag as they go back, but McInnes's reach is not just for high throws.
After the play, misconduct foul, 15 yards against Saskatchewan number 4. First down BC.
He was in a heated argument on the last play. And now Corey Mace wants to just have a quick chat with him. But, you know, when I talk about McInnes's reach, it's not just on high throws. This is reaching around a defender and getting there with his arms and hands before the defender can make the play. I mean, you can't be in better position than Fields was on that throw.
Heard Davis Sanchez talk about it at halftime, just how hard it is for a defense. And you got a receiver who's in a zone working with his quarterback the way he is, and with that height, that reach, and a whole lot of McInnes. Stand back. Maybe a yard on that first down play. 2nd and long coming up here for BC. The clock keeps ticking.
Big play for the Riders here to get. They need to stop against Jordan Maximic's offense, and they can still keep it at 2 possessions, but it's 2 possessions now, and a field goal is one of them. It stays at 2. The major.
Inside the 35. You said you think McInnes can get to 250. He's at 243 right now. 2nd and 10. Passing down. Pressure's on. Adams escapes. And he dives this time, and a flag does come out as he heads down. Not a first down, but he got it down around the 25. Not like a Rider hit him as he was going head first, diving, trying to get to the first down.
Well, the flag came out way over on the sideline, right in front of the Lions bench. Unless they, from that angle, saw something way into the middle of the field, it might have been an illegal contact.
We're down just at 2:57 on the clock, so the 3-minute warning is coming up here as well as they just wait for them to sort this out. Critical moment for the Riders here.
All right, Lions fans, I know you're having a good time. So when the game is done, your night doesn't have to end.
Just under 3 minutes to go. Looks like it is against Saskatchewan. We'll sort that out when we come back. Week 6 wraps up tomorrow. Drew Brown, who was hurt in Winnipeg, back with the Ottawa Redblacks, coming in at 2-2 against McLeod Bethel Thompson and the 0-4 Edmonton Elks. Coming off a bye and looking for that elusive first win, even though they've been very, very close. Not that it matters, but at a game here in Vancouver just a couple of weeks ago where it came down to the final play. Been back-to-back games that way. So watch the conclusion of Week 6 from Edmonton tomorrow, CFL on TSN. Penalty was illegal contact against the Riders, so inside the 25 for Adams and a first down. And it is caught. It's Alexander Hollins. He gets it inside the 20. And a 2nd and short coming up here for BC. 2:44 in the clock.
Yeah, the penalty was illegal contact in the secondary, so that's a first down for the Lions, and that's their first play on getting Hollins on that curl. A 2nd and manageable situation on 2nd and 5.
at the Saskatchewan 18-yard line. First meeting of the season between the Riders and the Lions. BC's trying to put a bow on it. Pressure. Adams is caught. And Milligan aggressively taking down the Lions receiver. That's Hollins. Caught that one, and he is still down.
He timed this hit up very well and then hooked the leg, so it looked like Hollins maybe hit his head, the back of his head on the turf. I mean, a clean hit definitely from Roland Milligan there. Good to see Hollins get up.
The applause from fans as Hollins does get to his feet.
But they'll have to do a sort of full assessment if it's a head injury. It looks like he'll be okay.
McInnes, who's had to leave a couple of times with apparent cramping in his left leg, but what a game for him, following up his previous best last week in Hamilton in a big way. 14 catches, 243. Looking for a little icing on the cake right now. Heading down to 2 minutes as Lions are trying to put this thing away. Threatening from the Saskatchewan 12 at a 1st and 10. Stand back. Got lost yardage again. Caleb Sanders to help out CJ Revis, who's the first to get the stand back for lost yardage.
Yeah, Revis knew the play. I mean, he was in the playbook on this one because CJ Revis he didn't think about any pass coverage responsibilities. He just said, they're going to run on 1st down to William Stanback. I'm going to go off the edge and just get in that backfield.
And Corey Mays does call a timeout. 2 minutes on the clock. Trying to stop BC from taking over the top of the division.
Stop from a major here keeps the game alive, even though the time is the enemy now for the Riders.
Each of these teams have big games next week against division rivals.
And I think that was a thumbs up, Rod, from Coach Campbell with regards to Alexander Hollins.
So that's some good news, and it's looking like a good news day for Rick Campbell ultimately. Back to the ground, stand back. Well, he gets free and inside the 15 again. But the Rider defense holding for another Sean White field goal try to come up here now and keep it within 2 scores, albeit it would be 12 points. And White has been absolutely perfect this season, not just the night.
Well, the Riders wanted to, at the very least, do this. So even though it stays 2 possessions, it's still 2 possessions. Now they have to get 2 majors, but the time that Vernon Adams ate up on this drive was the issue.
It's the big problem for them now. Sean White on again. He is 5 for 5, 20 yards. 6 for 6, 38 straight now without a miss for Sean White. I was talking about division rivals for these 2 teams next week as well, and in Calgary, McMahon Stadium, Wally Buono, Wall of Fame night, fittingly of course, between the 2 teams that he coached so well for so many years. A Hall of Fame coach, Lions, Stampeders, won Grey Cups with both of those teams.
The GOAT.
All-time leader in coaching victories in the Canadian Football League.
How about 282, 4-time CFL Coach of the Year.
And you look at those Grey Cup championships 5 times with the Stampeders in 92, 98. And then that 8 and 10 team in 2001. And then with BC, Dave Dickinson as quarterback, they won in 2006 and again with Travis Lulay. Beating Winnipeg in that 2011 game. And he did come back out of coaching retirement, if you will, a few years later. Finish up a remarkable coaching career, but just such unprecedented success. Wally Buono to be honored back in Calgary where he was first a head coach in the Canadian Football League. Just a minute and a half under that now, 125. More excellent special teams coverage there by the BC Lions. So they're in Calgary next week, and Saskatchewan goes home to host the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who won back-to-back games.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we showed you that Ottawa-Edmonton promo for tomorrow, talking about the Bombers started over, and they broke out of that with a couple of wins in a row, and what a great game that was against Calgary.
It really was.
This week. Last night on Friday Night Football, and gonna have to get some big chunks here now.
First down from their 27. Patterson's running around, and a flag comes out as well. Stays on his feet, trying to find a receiver, decides to take off and get close to the first down marker with 1:11 on the clock now in the fourth.
I think there's a face mask, so he felt like he had the freebie. The problem was he was killing
Holding
time.
Saskatchewan number 61.
Oh, it wasn't.
10-yard penalty. Remains first
It
down.
looked like he got a face mask with the way he snapped his head back.
It's Trevor Reed, the left tackle, who does not agree, shaking his head, but nonetheless, it'll be a 1st and 20 as the Riders are pushed back towards their end zone. Saskatchewan started with that dramatic victory in Edmonton. They were down some 3 touchdowns. Came back, scored those 21. Sean Bain with a big game in week 1. And then dramatically in a walk-off by Brett Lawther in Hamilton, then beat the Ticats again, and then the Argos last week to get to 4-0. Patterson throwing Mitch Picton, and no catch. He caught the ball, but out of bounds.
Regumba was over there again. Manny Regumba's, and remember, he got hurt too and had to go out for 3 or 4 plays, or at least a series. And he's over there pushing Mitch Picton out of bounds.
Still looks like he's limping.
Gonna play off, don't let anybody in behind him. That'll be the strategy. You can see how far that second level is.
2nd and 20, just a 3-man rush as they back off. It is caught around the 25. Then Hladek, the middle linebacker. Or Ryder Varg, excuse me. Saskatchewan native Varg
down. Looked like Trevor Reed had an issue. He didn't like that holding call, one, but he also was having some cramp issues, I think, as well. The last couple of plays. So that coming in will be Miles Brown.
A defensive lineman, but yeah, he wore number 90, but for this situation puts on an offensive lineman number 69. So Miles Brown to come in when they've lost Jamarcus Hardrick first, the right tackle. Zach Fry was the only backup O-lineman, and now with another injury, and awful to see Jamarcus Hardrick, who so many great years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at right tackle on that iconic offensive line during 4 years, and that run to the Grey Cup game 4 straight years, and then moving on as a free agent. He and Stanley Bryant, such great bookends.
Oh yeah,
on that offensive line.
And the Bombers missed him. They missed him, especially start of the season. Now as I mentioned, they've snapped out of it and got back in the win column. Can Edmonton do it tomorrow night?
Well, it's the 2nd straight week for the Red Blacks against an 0-4 team. They had Winnipeg. We were there when, and with that, it was good Bomber defense and a whole lot of running. Zach Collaros not able to play, and Chris Trebler got the start, and Brady Oliveira went off, and now Ottawa heads to Edmonton, and the Elks very hungry, I'm sure, to get in that win column. 3rd down, under a minute to go. They need 12 just to carry on here, and Patterson is running around again. Being chased, gets rid of it. And no. Jordan Perriman in there on Sam Emelis, and BC can run it out now with a 12-point lead. One of the backups in the secondary with the Lions, Jordan Perriman with the play, and for Rick Campbell in this early meeting of the best of the West, his BC Lions have done it, and they will take over top spot in the West Division with 10 points and improve to 5-1, and that will be the first loss of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And you can see BC with a game in hand. However, that all evens out as the season goes on. Their bye weeks.
Oh, it's early.
Another monster game for the front runner early for MOP. Talked about that off the top. Again, I think Shea Patterson played well at times and really managed the game well to keep it close. Keep it within striking range going into the fourth quarter. That's what you want to do on the road. Had a chance to do that, the Riders.
And Vernon Adams, 26 of 42, 451 yards passing, and a lot of that, well over half of it, went to number 18, Justin McInnes. And Corey Mason said, and this is nothing on Shea Patterson, you're right, he had some solid moments in this game.
Really did.
But there will be questions about the health of Trevor Harris, and Corey Mason did say he does not expect him to be out the full 6 weeks on the 6th game.
But not 2 either. The Corey didn't say that, but not...
No, not 2 either.
Right.
I mean, they had the bye as well. And then, so this would be
timeout
3 weeks ago since the injury against
BC.
Hamilton.
Still a second left on the clock. Timeout BC.
But Patterson's numbers, 17 of 25, 278, was intercepted the one time. It was another big play to Samuel Emelis. And they were able to get back at this game. They got as close as 2 before BC opened it up again.
How about the combination there?
Now, Sean White is lining up. Now, is this just thinking of the season series? Get as many points as you can, just in case they end up with the same record at the end, and point differential is a tiebreaker?
Yeah, because they only play each other twice.
Well, there you go. So if Saskatchewan wins the next meeting, they do go to the point differential, so BC wants to get as many as they can. And also, that's 39, by the way. That ties Rene Paredes's second all-time record for consecutive field goals. What a game for Sean White. He adds another one there. So, a meeting of the best in the West. Sean White, by the way, 7 for 7 in this game. He stays perfect. But for Vernon Adams, what a great start to the season. And as you said, BC just keeps rolling. Top of the West now.
Top of the West, and a quarterback to receiver combination that is just off the hook great in Justin McInnes and Vernon Adams.
Adams throws for 451. Justin McInnes targeted 14 times. He caught 14 for 243 yards and a touchdown. Tomorrow, wrapping up the week in Edmonton, the Elks and the Ottawa Red Blacks and the BC Lions not only top of the West, but they match Montreal for top record in the CFL. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN, and have a great night.
After the Argos knocked off the Alouettes on Thursday, that means Saskatchewan, the only undefeated team still standing.
And trying to get to 5-0 for the first time in 11 years. They've allowed the fewest points in the CFL so far this season. They're off to a great start. Now, with the Riders in town, the Lions hosting the second annual Watermelon Smash before the game. Lots of watermelon-related activities for the fans. That is quite something. All right, let's get to the action. Now, Lions looking for a 5th straight win. First quarter, Vernon Adams Jr. throws his league-leading 12 touchdown. This one to Justin McInnes. McInnes, monster night, 14 catches, 243 yards, and a touchdown. Let's move to the second quarter. It's now 13-7 Lions. Adams spots a wide
second quarter.
Open Alexander Hollins. But Hollins drops it. The Lions settled for a field goal. BC up 19-10 at the half. Let's jump to the fourth now. Lions still up by 9, but they're pinned deep. Adams throws his second pick of the game. Deontay Williams gets this one. The Riders trying to start 5-0 for the first time in 11 years. First play after the turnover, A.J. Ouellette gets some help from his lineman. They push him into the end zone. That cuts the lead to 2. Adams on the sideline saying, it's my fault, my bad. And he looks to make amends for the interception on the next drive. Adams looking deep. Finds Hollins behind the coverage. Adams threw for 451 yards on the night. Same drive. Adams can't find a receiver, so keeps it himself. Gets a nice block from his fullback, David Mackey. Runs it in. The Lions hand the Riders their first loss of the season. 35-20 the final in this one. Here's Adams on McInnes.
The dude is a beast, man, and I just love to see it. He's got some of the strongest hands I've ever seen. He's getting his depth on his routes, making plays for me. I'm throwing the ball behind him, and he's reaching out and getting them. So I just appreciate Justin so much, and I can't wait to see him get paid next year.
That's the best game I've ever had in my life. I never had over, 211 in college. So, yeah, I'm just happy to be there for my team.
Well, here's a closer look at the updated CFL West Division standings. BC moves into sole possession of top spot in the West. The Lions are perfect 4-0 against divisional opponents this season and tied with Montreal for the best record in the league. For much more, let's go to Kate in the panel.
Alongside Jim Barker, David Sanchez, Milt Stiegel, and once again, it was the Vernon Adams Jr. show in this one. 451 passing yards. That is the 4th most he has thrown in a game.
Wow.
Obviously, McInnes had a huge part of that as well. We'll get to him. But for VA right now, Milt, we say it every single week, I feel like. He's just on a different level.
He's on a different level. And you look at what he did in the first half once again, and those stats were good enough for an entire game. But he's doing something special. And I'm not trying to say he didn't play well, but I guarantee you VA will look at this and say he left some points on the field. He made some bad mistakes. But when you throw for 451 yards, it's hard to say that because that's a very difficult task. So shout outs to him. Shout out to McInnes. They're forming a great combination. This BC Lion team is going to be tough to beat if VA continues playing the way he's playing.
One thing that stood out to me, Bill, that you said in the second half is you noticed a confidence in Justin McInnes. And it was part of it. You see he's everything he's catching with nobody catching, everything with his hands. He's snatching everything. The rapport between him and VA. What's really big is that because VA is such an athletic quarterback and can buy time, it's almost impossible to guard these guys because of McInnes' catch radius and the rapport they have and VA buying time. They're really tough to handle. One thing I will say in noticing this Riders team is that with a backup quarterback in Shea Patterson right now, I guarantee you this, in November, this Riders team is going to be one of those teams in the West battling to get out because when they get their quarterback back, with the young secondary they have, with a young dog and Samuel Emelis in the receiving core they have, this is a good football team. And at the end of the day, they're going to be there.
Well, 14 catches, 243 yards. He's now by far the leading receiver in the league. VA throws for 451, and Hollins dropped the 50-yard touchdown pass right in his hands, or he'd have been over 500. Again, it was just a remarkable effort by this receiver to watch him. He has such a knack for getting open in the middle. And like you said, he catches everything with his hands. There's no hits that intimidate him. This guy is a real player, and it's a pleasure to watch him. What's this, his 3rd year, I think, really come into his own.
You know what, too? If he wasn't cramping in that game, we just showed that shot as well. I mean, I'm not saying that he would have had more, but my goodness. I mean, he had to stay off for a lot of plays.
His
because
last
they were
3 catches were with cramps.
I know, it's amazing,
Good
isn't
man.
it? By the way, if you're keeping track at home, VA now on pace for 6,609 passing yards. Flutie's record, 6,619. This is a race we need to be watching as we send it back to SportsCenter.
Intrigue.
He's certainly been impressive, that's for sure. Week 6 in the CFL wraps up on Sunday night as the Elks host the Red Blacks. Edmonton still winless on the season, while Ottawa looking to get above 500. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN 3 and 5.